Thank you, David. Tonight's game is available on TSN HD and in 5.1 Dolby Digital Surround Sound. TSN is Canada's sports leader in high definition. Well, two clubs streaking in opposite directions, clashing at Ivor Wynne tonight under beautiful conditions. The last evening of the summer, and 25 degrees under the lights at Ivor Wynne. There's Tom Higgins, whose Stamps have won 3 straight, unbeaten in 4, and they have moved to within 2 points of first place in the West, coming off that win over Saskatchewan last Sunday. While on the other side, Charlie Taft's Cats mired in their second 5-game losing streak of the season. Glenn, these two teams met in the season opener, and Calgary won that one.
On paper, looks like a mismatch. The Calgary Stampeders, one of the hottest teams in the league. Of course, we know how Hamilton has struggled this year. However, Calgary has struggled in the East, and in fact, really struggled here at Ivor Wynne. Duncan O'Mahony, he's on our team tonight.
I just hope he can get that helmet off.
But the Calgary Stampeders, 2-6 in the last 8 here at Ivor Wynne. Has been a place where they have struggled.
It has been funny. Calgary has had a tough time winning, particularly in Southern Ontario, where they have lost 13 of their last 15. DeAngelis, the Niagara Falls native with plenty of family and friends in the crowd, kicks it off, and here we go. Jason Armstead is back in the Cat lineup, and here he comes. Big stutter step there, makes 2 men miss, and a good return to the 35 to set it up for Casey Pritter's second Hamilton Tiger Cat start.
In his first start, they said he had 40% of the playbook. Yesterday, Charlie Taft said tonight he'll have 41%. But he does have Jesse Lumsden back in the backfield after missing 3 games due to injury. They will need him. He's got Jason Armstead at the wide receiver position, a veteran to go to. That will help Casey Printers and an offensive line that is young but getting better every single game.
They start double tight ends. They fake to Lumsden, and Printers on the bootleg has a first down, and Casey Printers scampers out after a 13-yard gain.
14 yards, first down.
Defensively for the Calgary Stampeders, Tom Higgins said the change in the winning streak began when the defensive line started to play its best football. Tay George leads that group. He has 7 sacks on the season. Big interception last week for Brian Clark in a big win versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders for their football team. And no Brandon Browner on the corner. Cedric Williams will play for him.
First down, and Jesse Lumsden has the carry, and Lumsden took a late shot from Scott Coe up to the 52-yard line, and a gain of 4 for the 5th leading rusher in the Canadian Football League.
Missed 3 games and is finally back. And how important will Jesse Lumsden be to this football team? He's in the top of the league, top 5 in the league in running. If he had the same amount of carries as Joe Smith, the leader, he would have 1,400 yards and be the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League.
Closer to 5, 2nd and 5, and Printers throws, it's complete, and JoJo Walker has a catch, trying to shed the goat horns after a bad mistake last week on a return of a missed field goal.
Good start by this Ticat offense. First, they've involved Jesse Lumsden early. Now that will occupy the minds of the Calgary defensive players, especially in the front 7, and then they go right to that quick passing game. And already you can see that Casey Printers a little more comfortable in game 2 than he was in game 1.
11 for JoJo Walker. And they're across midfield. Only twice last week did they drive across midfield against Winnipeg. Here's Printers in trouble and throws it into the feet of Jesse Lumsden under duress.
Yeah, he just threw that away. But when you look at Jesse Lumsden and what he will bring to this football team on his return, he'll take a lot of pressure off Printers simply because of this. I mean, take a look at his average right there. Number 1 for all running backs in the top 10 in the Canadian Football League. There he is at 8.5. And you can get 8.5 yards a carry. You get yourself in 2nd and short or medium, takes the pressure off the quarterback.
At the Stamp 46, 2nd and 10. The unthrown, it's a completion again. Walker broke 1 tackle, dragged down by Shannon James, a yard or two short of the first down.
JoJo Walker made a crucial error in the Winnipeg game a week ago when he tried to run a missed field goal out of the end zone. He got caught, he fumbled, it ended up turning into a bomber touchdown, and it looks like he has come to play focused football in this one. A couple of catches early on, and he's become a go-to guy for Casey Printers early in this game.
Ticats without their leading receiver, Brock Ralph, tonight, out with a separated shoulder. Walker comes up a little short. We're going to get an indication of how close he was to the first down as a measurement taking place. And there it is, yard short, maybe a little less. JoJo Walker played at Maryland under Charlie Taff, who was the offensive coordinator of the Terrapins. Crowd want them to go. Casey Printers from the sidelines back into the huddle, and they'll go for it on third and about a yard.
Well, last week their third down gamble was about the same place in the field, although they had a lot longer to go, and Casey Printers waved off the coach when he wanted to send in the punt team at that point. They did execute that first down. This one way less of a gamble for Charlie Taff. Printers, with his size and running ability, should be able to just fall forward for the first down.
Ticats have only driven once for a touchdown on their opening possession of the game. And off the right side, Printers will have the first down. And I hesitate to call that a drive because, remember, that was a 75-yard Lumsden run on the first play from scrimmage. But this is a good-looking opening possession drive being engineered by Casey Printers.
And this is the future of the franchise you're looking at right now. And whether you are one who disagreed with how Casey Printers arrived in Hamilton, what he said when he arrived, really doesn't matter. This is the future of the football team. They will build the Hamilton Tiger Cats around Casey Printer.
5 receivers set, the fake to Lumsden, and again, Printers himself in a slow move, but drops the ball. Scott Coe's going to get on it, and the former Ticat has the recovery. Scott Coe, the top Canadian, and look out, Casey Printers shaken up on the play after the fumble.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra, GMC Professional Grade, and by Coors Light. Who wants a cold one?
Was a 10-yard gain for Casey Printers, but he was popped by Dwayne Carpenter. Gave up the ball. Scott Coe the recovery. And Henry Burris and company take over at their own 35-yard line. And the fake to Joffrey Reynolds. And looking downfield, Kenyon Rambo's got it. And he's brought down by Tay Cody. But a big play to start for a red-hot Henry Burris.
Henry Burris gets outside. He has a corner route from Kenyon Rambo to start it out. Henry Burris has done a nice job through this winning streak of moving the pocket, moving around, and throwing on the run. Tay Cody comes from the safety, but it's not his responsibility. Michael Roberts had got caught way up near the line of scrimmage. He gets beat, and Rambo in behind him for a good start for Calgary.
34 yards, Burris, the offensive player of the week. To Kenyon Rambo, and now Joffrey Reynolds. What a stunner step that is. A brilliant run by Joffrey Reynolds, crashing down to the 15.
Nice cutback, backside cut by Joffrey Reynolds, who's going to make it look like he's heading in this direction, and then cut to the backside. And the backside of that defensive line for Hamilton, very undisciplined. They get washed right down. And then it's open field running for Joffrey Reynolds.
27-yard pickup by Reynolds. And in 2 plays, they're just outside the 13-yard line. A fake to Reynolds. Burris, is he over the line of scrimmage into the end zone? Rambo with the score, touchdown.
Just like that. All created on the turnover. That was a forced fumble created by Dwayne Carpenter. First of all, the fake to Joffrey Reynolds. Not McKay Lozier is going to come right down and almost tackle Reynolds. That allows Henry Burris lots of time to throw. He's outside, and Kenyon Rambo in behind coverage. Now, did he cross the line of scrimmage? There's the great play fake. Very, very close to the line of scrimmage when he threw that football.
No challenge. DeAngelis the extra point. 3 plays after the Printers fumble. Calgary on top.
The first down line brought to you by Rona, the Canadian how-to people.
Fifth touchdown of the year for Rambo, and they've all come in the last 4 games. You know, what great presence of where Henry Burris was on the field. We'll show you that coming up. 3 plays, 75 yards, and in less than 2 minutes, Calgary capitalizes on the opening turnover of the game. DeAngelis a short kick, and did it go 10? DeAngelis has it. And Sandro DeAngelis with a textbook kick. Craig Dickinson, a master as the special teams coach.
And in a lot of ways, when you have a team that has been struggling, the 35-yard line is where the ball is kicked off from. It has to get to the 45 before it's touched. I think it is. Well executed by the Calgary Stampeders. When you're facing a team that has been struggling, fakes can really demoralize them quickly. We'll see if the Hamilton Tiger Cats can bounce back.
So DeAngelis makes a play and right back to work. Go the Stampeders on offense. Burris going to the air. There's Nick Lewis. Had a big week against Saskatchewan, pushed out after another Calgary first down.
Let's first of all go back and show you that Kenyon Rambo touchdown. Henry Burris does a nice job of knowing exactly where he is on the field, because when he takes a step and throws right there, his right foot is well short of that 13 stripe, the 13-yard line stripe, which was the line of scrimmage. Good presence of mind from Henry Burris, drops it into Rambo. Nice catch in the corner of the end zone for Kenyon Rambo, who started that drive.
And they've got the ball back at the Hamilton 47. A pump, and Copeland unable to bring it down. Michael Roberts in coverage. Well, things are happening rapid fire. Let's go back to how Calgary got the ball for the first time.
Well, a good drive started by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Printer had some Lumsden. He had things going. Printers had a nice run through the line here. He was about 10 yards down the field in scoring range, but that hit from Dwayne Carpenter separated Printers from the football. That's an aggressive, straight on, perfect tackle. That created the first 7 points of the game.
Printers was down momentarily, but did bounce up. Might have a few loose molars after the Carpenter hit. First down, flag down, and a pass for Ralph, and it's batted down. Defensive play made by Lawrence Gordon, but again, a flag down on the play. Calgary leading in 9 offensive categories and showing you why very quickly tonight.
For a lot of the year,
offside. Hamilton number 32. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Juwan Armour, who's been one of the solid players on defense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats all year, was offside on that blitz. I was going to mention the Bombers have been the hottest team offensively until the last few weeks, and all of a sudden Calgary is taking first place in a lot of those categories.
2nd and 5. Quick hitter. And an incompletion under the backfield was Rob Cote, the Cochrane, Alberta native. And it's 3rd down. And Sandro DeAngelis, who got possession of the ball for Tom Higgins' crew, will be called upon. Well, let's see if he will be. I think Duncan O'Mahony will come out, and they'll try and pin the Ticats deep instead of a 50-plus yard field goal attempt. So Armstead back. That kick bouncing on a couple of hops to Armstead at his 5. They'll get no yards. John Cornish there to push Armstead back. 37-yard punt. backs up the Tiger Cats. I've wondered why we call this segment Inside the Huddle. Let's join Danny McManus.
Hey, Chris, talking about the Hamilton Tiger offense, last week Casey Printers had 6 sacks against them. Coach staff said a lot of those were just from Casey not being familiar with the offense and where to go with the football when your first read is broken down. So it's really not all the offensive line. It's just Casey being familiar with the playbook and know where to go with the football.
McManus knows where to go. Almost too many men in the huddle for the Ticats there.
Yeah, I noticed he hustled off, though, quickly before they broke it.
Printers make this call, or was it McManus? First down. And Lumsden will try the right side. Escapes Scott Coe. Jesse Lumsden with a good run. Finished off on a heavy hit by Shannon James.
That's a good point, though, that Danny McManus makes, that Printers on a couple of practices, really 1.5 full practices last week, struggled a little bit with the reads after that first read. He gets Jesse Lumsden back. That's the type of thing Jesse Lumsden brings. That helps him. Now he can go to maybe the second read. He can dump the ball off to Jesse Lumsden if he needs to, because he's more familiar with where Lumsden will be. All of that will help Printers. He's shown some positive signs early on. That was a pretty good opening drive until the fumble.
13 for the man who leads in average yards per carry at 8.5. That ball gunned in there, incomplete. Intended for Chris Bauman.
You know, last week when Printers came in on those 2 days of work, he knew basically where the routes were when it was the primary target. But once that broke down, then he got in trouble, and then he tried to make things happen with his legs. He had a very good defensive front four that he was playing against the Bombers, and it just went kind of downhill from there. But once you get that second and third read, you know where to go with the ball. It helps a ton.
6 sacks for Winnipeg, and Printers candid, saying he was responsible for most of them. That pass behind Nate Curry, incomplete, and it will be a hunting situation for the Tiger Cats.
Well, the first ball was dropped, and the second one a little bit behind the target, and Printers right now likely trying to get some of those cobwebs out. That was a big hit that he took when he fumbled the football from Dwayne Carpenter, and that's going to take probably a series or two to get some of those cobwebs out of there.
Nick Seta into the game. Marcus Howell awaits, and a kick off the side of the foot of Seta, and it will skip out at the 49, a 38-yard punt.
Well dressed.
Joffrey Reynolds with the carry as the Stamps take over. Reynolds carries the pile for close to 10 yards back into Ticat territory.
Joffrey Reynolds had a nice run on that first series, that 3-play series, resulting in Calgary's first 7 points. That's a little bit tougher running through that middle, but one of the best at that as well.
You know, Zeke Moreno was saying yesterday, I've learned that this is a cutback league. I can't be waiting the hole. I've got to anticipate where the running back is going to cut to, and that 27-yarder by Reynolds on the opening possession really illustrated that well. Zeke Moreno saying he watches a lot of Baron Simpson tapes to see how
it's a good idea.
One of the best in the business handles the middle linebacking spot.
He and Baron Simpson have been 1 and 2 in tackles in the Canadian Football League and are right now coming into this week. 80 for Zeke Moreno, 70 for Baron Simpson in Winnipeg. So not a bad guy to watch film on for Zeke Moreno, to watch on how Baron Simpson, one of the great run stoppers in the game, does it from tackle to tackle.
There's been a bright spot for the Ticats. It is their run defense, ranked 3rd in the CFL, largely because of Moreno. And here's Kamissa Young with a sidestep for the first down as we check in on the sidelines. Here's Sherry Ford.
Well, football fans and players alike were wondering where the real Joffrey Reynolds was at the beginning of this season. The two-time All-Star running back's numbers dropped from a career average 85 yards a game down to 57 yards a game for the first 7 contests of the season. In week 7, when he only carried the ball 4 times, he went in and complained, and it must have worked, because since then he's been averaging over 100 yards a game. In fact, last week he had his best performance of the season, running for 154 yards against Saskatchewan. the first player all year to crack the century mark against the Riders' league-leading run defense. So I guess you could say the real Joffrey Reynolds is back.
Yes, Joffrey Reynolds is back, and Charlton Keith trying to make a quick impression in this Hamilton defense. His first quarterback sack in this, his second Ticat start.
Yeah, he comes off the edge. Real high snap here for Henry Burrs. He has to go way up to get it, and you can see Charlton Keith off that corner in his second start. Gets his first sack in the Canadian Football League. They like him. They think he's got the speed. They said they've been joking a little bit lately about rush ends. Who's the rush end for the Hamilton Tiger Cats? Whoever shows up, basically.
He's the sixth guy this year to occupy that spot. Second and 19. Ticats will rush 3, drop 9 on the shovel pass. Roger Dunbrack stuffed it up, and they rally quickly to the football. Roger Dunbrack, the 10-year vet out of Dundas, seemed to clog that play up.
That's what that middle guy's got to do. Take on the blocks. You don't have to be fancy in the middle. You just have to be strong. And just bull rush and hold your ground. That's what Dunbrack does. He steps up and he holds his ground in the middle. The veteran of 10 seasons, look at that. He's taken on the block. He holds his ground. He slows Joffrey Reynolds down long enough for his teammates to come and help him out.
Dunbrack is starting assignment today with Jermaine Reed, hospitalized for a couple of days with an infection. The punt by O'Mahony, and Armstead from his 10. And Armstead, whoa, he hit a wall at the 20. 50-yard kick, 10 on the return.
Freshly prepared on a home-style biscuit or any toasted bagel, just $2.49.
Always fresh, always Tim Hortons.
Lumps on the lone setback as Casey Printers goes to work. Here's Corey Dickerson a catch. And a first down to the 34-yard line. Dickerson, a former Stampeder.
Absolutely love this play formation for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. One I think they can use. There's Dickerson as a tight end, but watch the play fake to Lumsden. Whenever you have Jesse Lumsden in the backfield, that play fake is going to influence the defense in a big way. That allows Dickerson to get out of that backfield from the tight end spot, and you have the threat of Casey Printers running the football outside on that corner. That's a good play package for Hamilton.
Dickerson, 4 games with the Stamps in 2005. 14 for him. Now Printers looking up top, looking for Armstead. Incomplete. Kranz Clements was step for step.
Again, the play fake is going to put a lot of pressure on the outside pass rusher for the Calgary Stampeders. Jesse Lumsden, that's how important he is. Look at how it influences 2 Calgary Stampeder defenders. And again, Printers has the corner and the option to run or throw. Now that one's incomplete, but he does have an option, and there was a little bit of a fight at the end of that play.
Fans in an uproar. Jerome Davis and Scott Coe went at it, and it took a long time to unpile, and no penalty markers on the play.
Never happened.
So it's 2nd and 10. Davis back in at right tackle. Here comes the rush and the screen. Tip ball. Lumsden does make the catch, but it affected the timing of the play, and he's brought down short of the first down.
Not sure who got their finger on the football for the Calgary Stampeders, but it was a big play because had that ball been thrown directly to Lumsden and not tipped, that looks like a Carpenter again. Another play by Carpenter because that ball's not tipped. Jesse Lumsden has lots of room and a convoy in front of him.
Then go. Nick setup, boots it away. Good kick and Howell from his 20. Penalty markers down. And more as there was an illegal block, and Seta nails Howell out at the 43-yard line. 52-yard punt. 23 on the return, and at least a couple of penalty markers to sort out.
Well, we maximize the flag count because I count 4 or 5, and I'm not sure that anyone else has one. And they all came at one after another. It wasn't like they all saw the same thing, so could be more than one penalty on this play.
Saw at least one illegal block, and not sure if the initial flags were for no yards. These are the two most penalized teams in the CFL. Hamilton led for a long time, and now Calgary has that distinction.
That was Hamilton, and a holding against Calgary. Looked like that illegal block on the Ticats may have been at the line of scrimmage, and then as the play progressed, then there was a holding Calgary. That was the first indication.
So the options being given to Jay McNeil for the Stampeders. Zeke Moreno. And will there be an option to re-kick the football?
Oh, here we go.
Prior to possession of the punt, we have an illegal interference against Hamilton, number 6. After the reception, we have a holding against Calgary. We will balance both those penalties at the point of last scrimmage and repeat third down.
So we will kick it again. Jameisha Jackson was the Hamilton offender.
Interference on the returner trying to field the football, and then a holding after the ball was fielded. So this is where the disadvantage now goes to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, because they have just gone all the way down to cover that first punt, 45 yards in a dead sprint, trying to beat a block, and now they have to go right back and do it all over again a little bit deeper. And at this point, you cannot kick it out of bounds or it's a penalty. It's too far.
Marcus Howell reloads, and so does Nick Setta. That is going to kick, and this one does go out. And will they take it at the 40 or make him do it again?
They may make him do it again. That's decent field position, the 40, but
if they were tired on the last kick, that cover team is really going to be
without question.
We have an illegal kick out of bounds. That penalty is declined. First down, Calgary.
But then again, when your offense is maybe the hottest offense in the game right now, probably good to have them on the field. And that's what Tom Higgins decides.
Take it at the 44 as Henry Burris went to work quickly tonight with this high-powered Stampeder offense.
Hottest quarterback in the Canadian Football League right now is Henry Burris. He's got Joffrey Reynolds behind him. He's coming off a 154-yard game against Saskatchewan. There's the receivers. Leader is Nick Lewis. Lazio back in center.
And Joffrey Reynolds with the carry off the left side, a flag down. You heard Sherry talking about Joffrey. Back-to-back 100-yard games. In fact, he had 102 yards in the second half last week against Saskatchewan. So not just the first to gain 100 against the Rough Riders this year, but he did it in a half of football. But this last Reynolds carry is being negated by a penalty.
Holding Calgary, number 79. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's Godfrey Ellis, who lines up as a tight end.
Defense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They've been going with a lot of different combinations up front. There's Roger Dunbrook in the middle, and Charlton Keith. They both made plays so far. Zeke Moreno, the leader. Armour playing real well in that linebacking core. Also, Tay Cody now in his 5th start at safety.
Starting lineups brought to you by Holiday Inn Hotels. Brett Ralph brought down close to the line of scrimmage. Good defensive play made by the youngster out of Central Tech in Toronto, Michael Roberts. We don't have a battle of the Ralphs tonight with Brock out, but younger Brett's had a fine season as one of the many Henry Burris weapons in the Calgary arsenal.
And he has a few. I mean, Nick Lewis is their leading receiver at 765 coming into this game. Ryan Thelwell has the best average when he gets a chance to play. And let's not forget Copeland and Rambo, who's already made an impact tonight.
2nd and 18. Underneath, there is Ryan Thelwell, puts his head down, Armour there. And he'll be stopped at the 48. And that will make it 3rd down, Calgary. Thelwell without a catch last week after that brilliant Labor Day. Talked to George Cortez about that. Nothing wrong with Thelwell, but they went to a different formation last week with Godfrey Ellis as a tight end, and it had so much success they stuck with it. And Thelwell ended up not seeing much action.
Offside, Hamilton number 55, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Well, that's the newcomer Charlton Keith that gives Henry Burris another shot here.
Timing was pretty close. I saw Charlton Keith jump off the top of the line, but real close to see whether or not he was in that neutral zone. It does give Calgary and Henry Burris one more crack at it, but they're still in second and long.
He was here for such a short time prior to last week. They were surprised he never lined up offside a few times. Not familiar with the 1-yard restraining area. Second and 13, pressure. Burris has a wide open Thelwell and brings it down. Great catch by the London, Ontario product, Ryan Thelwell. And
you know why, Chris, this is so well done by Henry Burris is because he uses his patience. He knows he's got 1, 2, 3-man rush because there's going to be one over here. When he's got a 3-man rush, he's got a little bit more time to allow his receivers to open up. So he steps up in there, he slides to the outside, he waits till Thelwell finds that open area. Now Thelwell is just going to come down the field. He beats that first jam, now he just sinks into that open area in behind Dwight Anderson.
So the offside hurts the Ticats. Calgary converts and has a fresh set of downs at the Hamilton 45. And Henry Burris doesn't look like what he sees.
He saw blitz coming.
And calls timeout.
He saw a whole bunch of Ticat jerseys right up on the line of scrimmage and obviously didn't have the play called that he needs to be able to beat that blitz. Whether or not it was disguise or not, he won't know because he didn't snap the ball, but they were all on the line.
Ticats don't blitz a lot. Talked about sending more last week against Winnipeg and trying not to be as conservative on defense. Well, the hot hand continues. Henry Burris in this opening quarter. 7 300-yard games in his last 8 starts. First game of the year, the Ticats held him 230 in the air, but he ran for a season-high 99. First and 10. Reynolds straight ahead. And Joffrey Reynolds crashing down to the 38-yard line on the final play of the opening quarter in Hamilton. First quarter stats brought to you by Rona, the Canadian how-to people.
All you have to do is look at the turnover category. Everything's pretty even except there, that one turnover, and then you slide down and across to the Calgary 7 points off turnovers. That's the difference in the football game right now, pretty even.
The Printers fumble started that, but as you can see, 6 first downs, so you're seeing progress in Hamilton.
I really am. I love this play package they have with Jesse Lumsden now in the backfield. They can fake it to him. They've got Casey Printers outside of containment a few times so he can use his athletic ability. He has the option to run or throw. I think this is a play package they can build on.
Nevertheless, the Stampeders look like they are continuing to roll. 3 plays for the touchdown after the Printers fumble to start the game. And now, Calgary looking at 2nd and 3. As we start the second quarter in Hamilton territory. And Burris, quick out is dropped. Jermaine Copeland unable to hang on.
Juwan Armour got there in a hurry, and he didn't get the football, but he did distract Jermaine Copeland enough so he couldn't. He showed in the line of scrimmage, and then he flew out of there. Armour was showing blitz here, and he's going to fly out to the zone, and you'll see him right there across your screen. And he just distracted Copeland enough.
Those slots, Copeland and Lewis, brilliant last week against Saskatchewan. Here's Sandro. He's missed just 3 this year. From 40, 47, and 57. Clicking along at 87.5%. And a recovered kickoff tonight to boot. Trying from 45. And he is money again. DeAngelis adds to the Stamps lead.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra, GMC Professional Grade, and by Coors Light. Who wants a cold one?
We're in the opening minute. Second quarter at Ivor win. 10-0 Stamps. Kenyon Rambo a touchdown. DeAngelis a 45-yard field goal. And Casey Printers goes back to work. Bunch formation to the right. And Jesse Lumsden to the left where it's red. And the ball dropped. Scott Coe was there waiting. And Coe has been busy tonight and trying to sell it. He has his second fumble recovery. Jake Ireland said, "I blew the play down."
And you wonder if Tom Higgins is going to throw the challenge flag. We'll take a quick look at it as they get set up again. Now, contact made right there, so if Lumsden touches, he's down. It looks like the knee behind him and his forearm may have touched the ground as the ball came out. It looked like the ground is what caused the fumble, and the ground can't cause the fumble.
I believe we will have a
ruling on the
challenge.
field was down by contact. Calgary has challenged that ruling.
Yeah, I just wonder, though, you look at that again, slowing it down, if that left knee was on the ground or not.
Almost seemed like he was holding himself up with the arms.
And you can put your hand down and not be down by contact.
I think it's a good challenge, and
without question.
And an anxious time for the Ticats here.
It's worth another look for sure, because it looked on the initial look that his knee was down behind him and that forearm came down with the ball in it, and that's what caused it to come out. But if the knee is not touched, take another look at it here. You've seen many times running backs as they go through the line, they'll put the off hand down to keep their balance.
And there's the angle that doesn't look like a knee's on the ground.
There we go.
After review, the runner's elbow hit the ground on his way down, causing the ball to come out. Therefore, the ruling of down by contact stands. Calgary loses their second timeout.
Not a bad challenge, though, for Tom Higgins. And they're ruling that the elbow goes down. That's down by contact.
That was their first challenge. They retain their timeout.
First challenge is a freebie. There's the correction. But it goes down on his elbow, and that's down by contact. If it was his offhand and his knee is not touching, he's allowed to do that. That's not down by contact, but the ground can't make you fumble. The ground can cause an incompletion, but it can't cause a fumble.
So it turns out to be a loss of 2. 2nd and 12. Four-man stamp rush over the middle, a completion. And Nate Curry with the catch. And he'll come up short of the first down as we check back in with Danny McManus.
Hey guys, here from the Calgary bench, Wes Lysak will be out for the rest of the game. He's separated his shoulder. That's going to cause a little problems in their nickel defense for Calgary in the secondary. But more importantly, on special teams, Lysak's the signal caller on special teams for the Calgary Stampeders.
So Lysak's evening done.
Well, they already have lost Brandon Browner in the secondary. It's Cedric Williams.
He's the gunner on special teams. Marcus Howell on this return. And he's dropped at the 24-yard line as Nick Setta got away a good punt. Well, Sherry Ford mentioning that this man's season turned around after a 4-carry game against the Montreal Alouettes in August.
Yeah, and I know, you know, Joffrey Reynolds is the type of guy, he went in and mentioned it. I would say he probably wasn't complaining a whole lot. He just went in and suggested. He suggested that Coach Higgins, you know, if you want, I mean, it's up to you completely. But if you'd like, you can hand the ball to me. And he's done something with it ever since.
Almost 11 yards carry so far tonight. And out of the shotgun play halted. There's George Cortez, who made a change with almost having too many weapons at the start of the year. They had people sitting out week after week, finally released Mark Boerichter and seemed to bring clarity to the offense, and now it's operating on all cylinders.
Procedure, Calgary number 66, 5-yard penalty. Foul occurred inside the 25-yard line. Timer, hold the clock until a snap.
Eric Jones called there, yes. Henry Burris, you mentioned, when they solidified the receiving core, 7 of the last 8 games since then, he's been over 300 yards passing.
1st and 15. And the fake to Reynolds, a dart to Ralph, and a first down across the 40.
Brett Ralph takes advantage of the inexperience of Michael Roberts to the right of your screen, because as Burris is rolling out, he's got a guy going straight to the sideline, and Roberts goes with him. And that leaves Tate Cody back there, the safety. He's not responsible for that little curl, but he has to come up and make the tackle, and Brett Ralph just sat right there in that hole.
21 yards for Brett Ralph. And a Calgary first down at their 41. Double tight ends. And Reynolds, the ball carrier, straight ahead. Not much there. John Armour, part of the posse to meet him. But Henry Burris, we've mentioned, so hot of late. And now you project numbers and start thinking about outstanding players. Casey Printers was the outstanding player in 2004. Damon Allen at quarterback, the outstanding player in 2005. Look at the Burris numbers, better than what won in those 2 years. And we also have Kevin Glenn in there, who has even projected better pass numbers.
So when you add that 885 rushing numbers for Henry Burris too, it makes a case for him, doesn't it? I mean, it was all Kevin Glenn, and certainly he will still be in the running all the way through.
Here's Copeland over the middle, somehow escaped. And to midfield for Jermaine Copeland, who's been red hot. 3 catches for 111 last week against Saskatchewan.
Well, Copeland goes into that danger area over the middle, and he has to catch it in traffic. But look where Henry Burris puts that ball. He puts it right out in front of him, so he doesn't have to slow down. He doesn't have to expose his ribs. He doesn't have to reach up over his head. Accurate passing over the middle is so important for a receiver.
Copeland and Lewis combined for 260 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Rough Riders. Back on the ground, and Reynolds ran into Moreno. Good collision there between 2 of the best players in the CFL.
You know, that's a great graphic you threw up there, Chris, about Henry Burris and his numbers for outstanding player, and he's certainly a guy that now is right in the mix. And you know what? He has done so much better. Yes, he's putting up great numbers. He's got all those weapons. He's throwing touchdowns, but he's protecting the football. He's playing smarter and with more composure than he did early in the year. Since the BC game where he fumbled twice, he has not fumbled the ball since.
No, 5 games without a fumble for Burris. He's lost 4 on the season. And some early movement there. Play doesn't get off. But that was Frank Burris, who's gone missing for about a month and a half.
Frank Burris was the guy who was fumbling.
Hank Burris is red hot, and Frank has left town.
Well, they haven't lost a game in 4 straight.
Offside. Hamilton number 9. 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
Not McKay Loescher jumped the gun.
And what he's doing too is he's capitalizing. He's making those big plays. Last week versus Saskatchewan, Henry Burris threw touchdowns of 84, 85 yards to Copeland and Nick Lewis.
2nd and a couple after the penalty. And Charlton Keith.
I see ya.
Whoa.
Okay, Mr. Keith.
That'll win you some fans in Hamilton.
Oh, I guess. That's Hamilton football right there. That's what they want to see, is some of their defenders, some of their defensive players getting to the point of attack and lowering the boom.
He may be the 6th rush end. He might make sure there's not a 7th around this year.
24 years old, playing with a little enthusiasm.
Dropped Commission in his tracks, forcing O'Mani to punt the ball away. Armstead fields it on the run and gets up to the 19 on the return. Just past the 5-minute mark of the second quarter at Ivor Wynne. Well, tune in to TSN Sunday. We've got a great Wendy's CFL on TSN doubleheader. Game 1, the Eskimos taking on the Alouettes in Montreal. And in the second half of the doubleheader, the Bombers roll into Toronto to take on the Argos. A couple of key games. Danny Mack intercepted. That never happened.
Never happened.
That's one way to get on, though.
And Kevin Glenn's going to play in that game, which is good news for Bomber fans.
Pass intended for Dickerson, sailed high. What about AC? Seemed to be some mystery about whether he'll play in the game against the Eskimos.
Sounds like he still may be a game away, and if Printers keeps getting hit like that from Shannon James, we may be talking about him on and off rosters, because that's the one thing now that the Ticats have found the quarterback that they're going to build their team around, and they certainly can do it with a guy like Casey Printers. With all that he brings, they have to be able to protect for him.
2nd and 10, 5-receiver package. Here comes the rush, and underneath, a completion. Armstead, a little jitterbug step, and he'll be stopped short of the first down. Gang tackled. Julian Battle, a newcomer to the Calgary secondary, number 4, in on the stop to prevent Armstead from gaining the first down.
We might see a little more of Julian Battle, just because Wes Lysak is now injured and won't be available for that nickel package.
Another big defensive back at 6'3", 210. Hunter with good size, out as he rolled an ankle this week in practice. But Tom Higgins told us you'll see some of Battle tonight, and seemed to tell us with a little enthusiasm that he was looking forward to seeing him in. This set a punt finally picked up at the 35, and Howell steps out after the 47-yard kick.
The First Down Line, brought to you by Rona, the Canadian how-to people.
Oh, welcome back to Ivor Wynne. Faithful anxious to see a 5-game losing streak come to an end, but it's a tall order here against a rapidly improving Calgary Stampeder team. Back to work from their 37, and Burris steps up, and that one almost picked off. Incomplete, and almost a Burris interception. Maybe not the best decision from a quarterback who's been making a lot of good ones lately.
He's also been making much better decisions lately, and he's been playing on a high plane that we've always thought that he was capable of playing on. He's running out of bounds when he has to. He's sliding when he has to. He's running. He'll take a sack. He'll throw the football out of bounds. So right now, we're in a very good mindset, and Henry is where Henry would like to be, but he's also where our coaching staff would like him to be.
Well, and that said, I think that's the first 2-0 of the night for Henry Burris.
And he's protecting the football when he has to. And that one almost got away on him, as he was almost intercepted there by Dwight Anderson. However, I would agree with Coach Higgins, watching him play the last 5-6 weeks. Henry Burris is making better decisions. He's protecting the ball when he has to. He understands now that sometimes what's happening right now, a punt, is not a bad thing.
So Armstead drops back to his 35. Duncan O'Mani. Low kick. And fielded on the hop at the 32. Armstead trying to use that great speed. But John Cornish won't let him turn the corner. Good downfield cover. Ticats take over on their 35. Printers, quick hitter. Gets 5 to Jason French, who moves inside for the injured Brock Ralph. Casey Printers had a big night here in Hamilton in his outstanding player season.
Back in 2004, a member of the BC Lions completed over 90% of his passes.
20 of 22 in the game.
CFL record, and that's what Casey Printers is capable of. I mean, that's what he's showing more of even tonight in game 2 as a Ticat.
2nd and 4, and he calls the quarterback draw, and a big first down for Casey Printers. This time he'll slide and not take the heavy hit. He did the last big run for Printers in the first quarter.
You know, and this is the other side of Casey Printers. Not just his ability to run, we all know that, but his enthusiasm. I love the celebration after he takes off. It's going to open up in the middle here as he steps up, and once he sees that middle open, he has gone through that hole. Great enthusiasm at the end of this play. He wisely goes down that time and avoids taking another hit. But he shows great enthusiasm, and you know what? This football team that struggled so badly this year, they will rally around that kind of reaction right there.
23 for Printers. He's run for 47 in the game. Jesse Lumsden is out of the game. Terry Colley in at running back, and pressure on Printers, who goes down back at the 50. A sack for the Stampeders, and it'll be a loss of 13.
Well, this is a blitz coming off the edge from the Calgary Stampeders, Shannon James. And Shannon James, who's right here, he's going to come here and he's free. Printers believes that he can sidestep this one and step up, but James just gets enough of him to twist him around. Now he's off balance, and Brian Clark can finish him off.
Brian Clark with a big interception last week against the Rough Riders. 2nd and 23, and there's Dickerson, and he is brought down. Kranz Clemens finishes him off. J.R. Ruffin with first contact after just a gain of 2, maybe 3, and 3rd down.
Well, you know, some people here are wondering, well, what happened to Casey Printers there? You know, I mean, he shows that great play, he runs up the middle, and the very next play he gets sacked for a loss. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have to punt. This is what we're talking about with the coordination of the offense in his second practice. That was blitz off the edge, and Shannon James is not blocked on the play. The receivers need to know that, present a target, and allow Printers to get the football out of his hands.
Howell from his 88 with a flag down, brought down heavily. Jamisha Jackson, and that will draw a penalty marker as well.
Drinking age, no purchase necessary.
Holding. Calgary number 23. Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Hamilton number 6. That's a net 5-yard penalty against Hamilton. First down, Calgary.
Well, the crowd does not like the call on Jamisha Jackson, but this is a new rule in the Canadian Football League that you cannot clothesline. That old clothesline tackle that used to happen in the leather helmet era is no longer allowed, so that's why the crowd doesn't like it. That's aggressive play in the old days, but now it's a penalty.
Well, that's a good tackle at Ivor Wynn. Burris with a completion, and up at the 35, it's another first down. Nick Lewis, who had that spectacular touchdown catch last week.
Right now, Henry Burris is taking advantage of the wide field. He's going a lot of roll to the wide field, a lot of looks to that side because he wants to go after the youngster out there, Michael Roberts. A couple of times now he's got him jumping receivers in zone defense.
4 minutes left, first half, and the Ticats jump offside. Let's go back to the sidelines. Here again, Danny McManus.
Hey, Chris and Glenn, after the last series by Calgary, Henry Burris came off the field, and Coach Cortez just very simply walked up to him and says, take what the defense is giving you. The flats are wide open. Henry's looking downfield, make that big play. But the Hamilton defense is giving up the flats.
And for that, Denny, and Jay McNeil was the man who drew them offside.
And that's one of the areas where Michael Roberts has been having his problems.
George wants to make sure the signals aren't being grabbed here. On the sidelines, it's 1st and 15. And look out, Burris fumbled the football. Who's got it? Looks like the Cats have it. It's Charlton Keith. Charlton Keith and a big turnover. A big takeaway by the Ticats.
Zeke Moreno gets it started because he cuts Henry Burris off. Burris has done a nice job of rolling out and throwing on the run. It's Moreno who's going to have secondary contain. He's going to be the guy who steps up here, and he ends up stopping Henry Burris from bouncing outside. Watch number 16 jump up there. Now Henry Burris has to pull it down. McKay Loescher from the backside gets him, and Charlton Keith is the guy who's going to pick up the fumble.
Well, that's the first fumble in 6 games for Henry Burris. Hard to put that one on him.
No, that's one of those forced fumbles.
Ticats in business, lumps him back in the backfield. And a first down, a quick hit, and a completion. And there is Armstead with the catch at the 18-yard line, and a Stampeder defender down on the play.
They found a keeper here in Charlton Keith. And that Stampeder happens to be Dwayne Carpenter, who's made some big plays, but you don't want to lose him, especially with Browner out. Wes Lysak is out. Secondary could become an issue for the Stamps in a hurry, but this rush in, Charlton Keith, his last team, the Oakland Raiders, who's in Cleveland in 06, 6'5", 240 pounds. And you mentioned it earlier, Chris, the 6th rush end to dress for this team, but he has been a guy in the backfield so far tonight for the Ticats.
Yeah, we haven't spent as much time talking about the other 5 as we have Charlton Keith tonight. Dwayne Carpenter continues to get attention. And the Calgary secondary, maligned early this year, have really come up with some big plays of late. Carpenter amongst them. This was Labor Day.
You know, it's the little things that make a difference. Brandon Browner right there, he punches the ball out. That is a Calgary turnover. This was in the rematch. Kamal Peterson knocked out of bounds. That ended up in a field goal. This play here,
J.R. Ruffin.
Yeah, J.R. Ruffin makes that tackle with great second effort. That ended up in a Calgary interception. Those are the little things that the defensive backs and the defense in general for the Calgary Stampeders have been doing that has made the difference, and that's why they've won 3 in a row. Denny Crehan has got them making those little plays, the second effort plays, where Hamilton has struggled. Looks like Hamilton's starting to make them now tonight a little bit. It's those plays for the kids watching that make the difference between winning and losing. Never quit, never give up.
So as Carpenter goes to the sidelines, Julian Battle has checked in, number 4. He moves to the corner. J.R. Ruffin over on that side as well with Carpenter out of the game. Ruffin takes over that spot. And it's 2nd and 3. Fake to Lumsden, and it's all Printers. First down. And outside, he'll step out at the 11. Final play before the 3-minute warning.
Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site.
Well, a first down run by Casey Printers, but seemed to be feeling the effects of that run as he limps to the line, stays in the game. Like he may have tweaked the hamstring on a 7-yard run to the sidelines. First down. Lumsden. Jesse Lumsden down at the 7. Brian Clark there. Let's find out what happened to Printers.
Yeah, that last run when he took off outside, He made a little move, and just as he got to the sideline, he grabbed his left hamstring immediately. It was right there, and he goes right to the wall. He holds the hamstring. He limped his way back. He kind of, during the break, was walking around trying to keep it loose in that huddle. Stays in the game so far. We'll keep our eye on that hamstring.
Second down. Cats can make a first down without scoring. Lumsden, and that ball drops incomplete. And Printers again a little slow getting to his feet. So Printers feeling some discomfort, and that has to be of concern at the Ticat sidelines.
Yeah, and he didn't look right when he went to turn and throw that ball. Of course, he had a rush right on him. I think it was Karan Williams. It looks like it's okay now, though. That's the good sign. It doesn't look like he's favoring the left leg at all as he walks to that bench.
Be more upset about a missed opportunity. Seta in to attempt a short field goal. He puts it through. And Hamilton's on the board. A 7-point Calgary lead with just over 2 minutes to play first half. Well, just a couple of minutes, and we'll be checking in with the boys. Wendy's at the half with Dave, Matt, Jacques, and Schultze. We'll get their take on what we've seen in the opening 30 minutes. Lots to talk about. 10-3 the score, but a lot of things going on. There's Copeland with a catch, a flag down. Copeland would have a first down up across the 45. Let's check the marker.
Offside. Calgary number 80. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
So Copeland, the receiver, was a little too quick off the ball.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats talk about that mentality, how they're trying to get out of this losing syndrome and find ways to win games. This is where it can happen. Your defense comes in with just over 2 minutes to go in the half. Are they trying to get a quick 2 and out and get the ball back for some points, or are they just trying to hang on to the half? It's a mindset.
First and 15, and that ball tipped in the air and picked off. Tony Tiller's got it. The former Stampeder on the tip. And the Ticats are getting right back in this game.
Zeke Moreno does a nice job of dropping right underneath that throw. Once again, he's got such great football sense from the middle linebacker position, knowing exactly where to be. Look at how he climbs up in the line. Then he is going to drop out of there and get right in the throwing lane. Here he comes, little back pedal, and he gets his hands with a nice vertical jump on that football, and Tony Tiller, the former BC Lion, former Calgary Stampeder, comes up with the tip ball.
13 games last year for the Stamps, 4 interceptions, and always sweet to get one against a team that lets you go. And now the Tiger Cats have the ball. They're at the Stampeder 32. There's that mindset you were talking about, maybe a little more confidence this week. Double tight ends. Jesse Lumsden the pitch. And Lumsden jolted. Big hit by Shannon James as Lumsden down to the 26.
Yeah, what you did? What you did?
Has 6.
What you did, man.
But Jesse Lumsden,
tip drill. You know we do tip drill, baby.
when he runs the ball, you get the feeling that every time he touches it, he has a chance to break it, because he will break that first tackle. And he has such great acceleration through the hole. Like, he hit that hole hard. Yes, he got hit hard by the defense, but you get that feeling every time he touches the ball, man, he can break it.
So 2nd and 4. Again, double tight end offense. And Printers throwing to the sidelines, and incomplete. Jason French, the intended receiver. Dwayne Carpenter back on the field, and he broke up the play.
His mobility is nowhere near it was since he grabbed that hamstring, because he would get the corner on this play, and he's holding it as he's going off, and we'll have to keep close eye on Casey Printers and whether or not they keep him in the game. That's where he attacks the corner, and he attacks Anthony to try and get outside Cornelius Anthony in that one-on-one. Printers would love that matchup and try and bounce outside that, but he didn't even attempt it.
That takes away so much of what makes him one of the premier players in the league. 33-yard attempt, setup, and he puts it through. Nick setup cuts the margin to 4. Well, no doubt he is favoring that leg, and you wonder at what point it's wiser just to pull him out.
Well, I'm sure they'll assess it at halftime.
There's Burris downfield. Thelwell can't make the catch. In tight coverage was Dwight Anderson. Good battle between Thelwell and the corner Anderson.
They really like Dwight Anderson. You know, I don't blame him. Again, a young guy in the secondary. This is his first year. He's got 4 knockdowns. He's played in all 11 games. They've asked him to play different positions, but they really believe that Dwight Anderson is one of the guys that they'll build the secondary around. They're still doing some auditions in different places, but they like Dwight Anderson. They think he can cover. There's not a guy in the league that can run past him if he's on top of his game.
2nd and 10, and the fans rev it up again. Ray Mariu's an extra backer in as not McKay Lozier goes to the bench. Here comes the blitz underneath Copeland. Got caught up with the official, and Jermaine Copeland loses the helmet but holds on to the football at a first down.
Yeah, it looked like Tony Tiller went to try and make the tackle, and the umpire was standing right in harm's way. There's the umpire there. And take a look at this crossing route.
That's Bill Hagan's in the line of fire.
Bill Hagan's got his eyes on the line of scrimmage, and he can't see the receivers coming, and you can see how Tony Tiller got picked on the tackle.
Not McKay Lozier. Fired off the ball quickly that time. Looked like somebody moved on the Stampeder offensive line.
Procedure, Calgary number 64. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
There's the former Gladiator, Jeff Pilon, the right tackle.
At the end of that play, Copeland tackled pretty hard there by Dwight Anderson. You know, last week, Hamilton Tiger Cats had Dwight Anderson playing on Derek Armstrong the entire game. That's how confident they are with Dwight Anderson on that corner.
66 seconds remaining, first half. 1st and 15. Calgary at the Stampeder 53. Burris dumps it off, and in and out of the hands of Joffrey Reynolds, who almost surfed it up on a platter for Zeke Moreno.
That's what Cortez was talking about, though, the offensive coordinator for Calgary, about Henry Burris taking what the defense was giving him, which was that dump pass to Joffrey Reynolds. Now it bounced off his hands. You don't see that very often. Moreno almost has the interception, but that's taking what the defense gives you.
2nd and 15. Looks like the Ticats may be offside. There's a ball in the flat, and Thelwell bounces off contact and down the sidelines for a big gain. Well, Danny McManus reported earlier on that George Cortez was trying to get Burris to look into the flats.
There he is right there, the outside. Ryan Thelwell working on Lawrence Gordon, who doesn't wrap up on the tackle. It was a free play for Henry Burris anyway. Good timing on the throw, and there's the missed tackle by Lawrence Gordon, and Thelwell has him in scoring position.
Charlton Keith was offside, but the Stamps will take the 30-yard play to Thelwell. As Calgary threatens to add to their 4-point lead. First down at the Hamilton 27. Here comes the blitz. Burris gets it away. And Kenyon Rambo has a touchdown. His 2nd of the game. Second touchdown pass. Burris to Rambo, and Henry's got 26 on the year.
Rambo is often the third receiver on the inside, and when you're that third receiver, your matchup can be on a linebacker. Henry Burris knows he doesn't have long to throw. There's a man unblocked off the edge. All he has to do is put some air under that football, and Kenyon Rambo had beaten Michael Harden cleanly on the one-on-one. Harden, the linebacker, on the outside.
6 touchdowns in the last 4 games for Kenyon Rambo. And DeAngelis adds the point after. Final minute, first half.
Flag on the field.
Henry Burris knows on this play that he doesn't have enough to block. He's only got 5 across right here to block on the play. And off the top is Armour coming off the edge, the linebacker. He knows he can't get that block, so he's got to get the football out of there. He puts air under it and let Rambo just run to the football. Rambo had the one-on-one on a linebacker, and he should win that matchup every time.
13 touchdown passes for Burris in the last 3.5 games. So he's on fire using weapons like Rambo, Copeland, and Lewis. And he's now within 4 of his career best, Henry Burris. 26 touchdowns on the year, 30 his career high back in 2000.
Rambo started the game, the very first play of the game. Burris hit him deep. That got things going. He finished that drive. It was a 3-play drive out of the gate. Rambo had his first touchdown then and his second just before the end of this first half. There's a touchdown passes you're talking about, 4 ahead of Ricky Ray. Henry Burris at this point on pace for close to 40 on the season, a personal best.
Over 200 yards, 219 in the opening half. As DeAngelis boots it away. Here's Armstead. And Armstead with a good return up close to the 45. So there's 38 seconds remaining, and Casey Printer's not coming out for the final Hamilton possession of the opening half. It looks like it's Richie Williams' game, as he has been elevated to number 2 status.
Williams did play last week. They took Casey Printers out late in that game, so he did get some reps there. You can tell by Casey Printer's reaction. As the hamstring, he was standing on the sideline, a hamstring injury will start to tighten up more and more. I'm sure they want to look at it at halftime.
Well, Williams' first toss, a completion. Armstead with the hit screen for a first down up across midfield. Let's take another look at what happened to Casey Printers.
He was trying to get outside like he has done so well in this game tonight. And right there is where he grabbed his hamstring. It looked like that one little shake move he made is where he might have tweaked it.
11 on the first completion by Williams, and now underneath to Lumsden, and he's down to the 46. They're getting into field goal range with 20 seconds left, and Richie Williams has been in mostly in garbage time, but he came into the game 76% completion.
And has really over the last couple of weeks since Timmy Chang struggled, he has moved ahead of Timmy Chang in the depth chart, is now number 2, and that's why it may be his game the rest of the way.
Another first down, Dickerson down to the 38, so they've quickly moved on 3 completions into field goal range. 11 seconds left, and Williams wants to burn the timeout and maybe take one shot at the end zone.
You know, Williams may change the game plan for the Ticats a little bit. That game plan they had coming in was to have Casey Printers and Lumsden work in combination. Printers to either give it to Lumsden or fake it and then get outside on the edge in the corner. Now with Printers out, you get Richie Williams is more of a pocket guy. He's a drop back passer, a pocket passer, but so far he's done a nice job on this hurry up. has a chance for maybe a quick play and then a field goal.
2 fourth-quarter touchdown passes against the Argos. He went 9 for 10 in that appearance, and perfect quickly here tonight out of Appalachian State. Let's see what he does here. One play, perhaps, maybe two before a field goal attempt. And they screen it to Lumsden. And Lumsden gets it down close to another first down at the 29, and that will make it about a 36-yard attempt for Nick Setup, and Richie Williams does the job in his opening series.
Well, 100%. 4 for 4. Richie Williams coming in for KC Printers on this drive and has a chance to put 3 on the board before they go in at halftime.
Chang holding for Setup from 37 yards out. Final play, first half, and Nick Setup is good. So 3 set of field goals, and the Stamp lead at halftime is 8.
The First Down Line, brought to you by Rona, the Canadian how-to people.
Clark, it's your brother.
Hey, sunshine.
Whatever it is, no.
Listen, our goalie blew his knee, and I was wondering.
You want me to play goal for you guys?
Game time!
So your brother tells us you're a real hotshot goalie.
Good game.
Hey, meet you guys at Tim's.
Hi, may I help you?
Yeah, large black, 2 sugars, and hot chocolate.
Can I get a large double-double? Thanks.
You did good. Lucky I taught you all those moves, though. Here, man. So you gonna play with us for the rest of the season?
I'll get back to you.
Great, because next Saturday you're buying the coffees.
Now get Air Miles Reward Miles every time you use your BMO debit card. New and only from BMO, Bank of Montreal.
Excuse me, Jack. I think you need to have a look at this.
Are you sure about this?
I checked the numbers myself.
We won 649.
What?
On September 28th,
this is the worst crime in the kingdom's history. Allow us to help you catch this criminal.
leave your world behind.
What's that you think I lost?
We are about to find out and enter the kingdom. The kingdom.
Live at the half, brought to you by Wendy's new bacon. Live at the half, brought to you by Wendy's new Baconator, the official hamburger of the CFL. Wendy's, that's right.
17-9, 3 field goals by Nick Seta has kept Hamilton close against one of the hottest teams in the CFL. That's the good news. Bad news is KC Printers. Hi, everybody. Dave, Chris, Matt, Jock. The old hamstring bug seems to have bitten. Casey, you've been there. It's not a good thing, is it?
Oh, I've had more of those than I could count. That's no fun for him, but he's walking around, which tells me that it's not a long-term injury at all.
All right, Schultz is going to talk. What?
No, he's absolutely right.
Yeah, I know. Does this team have any good luck? I mean, I'm not cheering for the Ticats, but they've had. You'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about Calgary, one of the teams that is really on a roll. Henry Burris has what do I got here? 16 touchdown passes in his last 4.5 games. On fire.
Yeah, the boy from the KL Open just gave me a call wondering how he's getting it done. And I tell you, it's got a lot to do with the way that Cortez has designed their offense. And, you know, last week I talked about how they do what we call the Sally Ran, which is where you fake the handoff and give the quarterback the option to pull it. And I talked about that last week. But what I haven't talked about what the receiver's responsibility is. The receivers who are front side of this have pass pattern responsibilities. In this particular instance, they're running the quick out and the corner corner pattern. Rambo, who's in as a tight end, has a corner. Whether he hands the ball off or not, he has to run the corner. I can tell you, when you got a corner pattern, he hands the ball off and you get exhausted as a result, that's not so fun. Again, on this play, you're going to see, once more, a corner pattern out here. You're going to see a flat pattern, but then you're going to see Ralph come in on a curl pattern. Again, when this play is called in the huddle, they have no idea if Burris is going to throw the ball or hand it off. The receivers are responsible for running their pass pattern. The guy hands it off, well then, you turn around, you block somebody. But this is an integral part of what Calgary does offensively, one of the reasons why they move the ball so well.
Are you a superstitious man?
I am.
Are you really?
Schultz, yeah.
See, I'm not a superstitious guy.
Really?
But I am really starting to wonder if there isn't a voodoo hex on these Hamilton Ticats. I mean, how do you explain this one? Casey Printers goes into the game. You can see he's a little bit better this week as opposed to last week. And then on what looks like the ultimate of innocent plays, he gets the football, he runs, he takes a read downfield, he says it isn't there, and I'm going to take off, and whoops, there goes the hamstring. Now, there's different degrees of hamstring stress. Am I an expert on hamstring stress? No.
Never had a hamstring, Schultz?
I've never had a hamstring. I can't run fast enough to have a hamstring. But I think there's degrees. You tell me. You've had a few hamstrings.
I've had all the degrees, Schultz.
I know degree number one, the massive tear.
Yeah, the tear is like a sort of a 6 to 8 weeker.
What's next?
Well, the second degree is probably, 2 to 4 weeks. And I'd say that one, a few days.
A few days?
Maybe
Dr. Clemmy.
Well, I hate to say this, but I hope it is a few days because I want to see Casey Printers play. And I am not superstitious, but sometimes I do believe in voodoo.
Oh, see, there's some good things happening for the Hamilton
There
Ticats.
are. That's exactly right.
Yep, Jesse Lumsden's back in there. He's giving Casey Printers an opportunity to do his thing. And then we've got Jason Armstead back in the lineup. I would get the ball in his hands at least 20 times. But defensively, they found a gem. We heard Chris Cuthbert talk about 6 defensive ends lining up for the Hamilton Ticats this year. Well, Charlton Keith from Kansas, I think, is a keeper. This guy can play the run. And watch this. Watch this specific play. He crashes down, got the responsibility. No, there. He checks Reynolds. Now he comes back. Moreno creates a fumble. Keith picks it up. So there are some good things happening for the Hamilton Ticats, Schultz. And, the voodoo hex, so much it's just you got to work through that stuff. I think that's what those guys are doing right now. And believe me, Charlton Keith is a
work
keeper.
through voodoo.
Work through the voodoo hex.
You got to work through.
I like that,
we got to work through the adversity, right? And you call it what you want. You're working through the adversity, and these coaching staff are, and they're building for 08. And Charlton Keith is a keeper.
Yeah, they've got some building blocks. They just got to keep them all healthy. We asked you in our Boston Pizza poll question prior to kickoff is who would you rather have at quarterback? Well, I mean, the way Henry Burris is going, I would be shocked if he loses this vote. You know what? Really, people? People! Are you watching the same games that we are watching here? Because Henry Burris is just lighting it up. He's on top of his game. I don't know what to say here. Danny McManus night. There's his family out on the field at Ivor. Yeah, that's right. Little baby Jackson there. Danny Mac night at Ivor Wynn.
This telecast is copyrighted by the CFL for the private use of our audience, and any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the CFL's consent is prohibited.
If you feel like singing a song, and you want other people to sing along, just sing what you feel. Don't let anyone say it's wrong. There's a light, one light. There's a light.
When you get into a Volkswagen,
One light. There's a light.
it gets into you.
White light. There's a light.
Trainee guy, I'm out of burgers. Can you give me some more?
Yeah, sure.
I love video, dear Ophelia.
I'm just looking for some burger patties.
Pray tell, trainee knaves. Burgers in the freezer.
Freezing burgers is just wrong. That's why at Wendy's, ours are made of fresh, never frozen beef.
That's right!
An innocent girl's murder
Unidentified woman died December the 20th.
led her to a dark underworld. Now, the only way to catch a killer
Stay away from people like me.
is to trust a dangerous man
I need to know who you are.
and risk becoming the next victim.
This is bad for us.
From the director of A History of Violence comes the year's most anticipated thriller, Eastern Promises.
Now playing.
When it starts, when it's streaming from your heart, let it out like a waterfall. I give you anything at all.
Who are you running for? Join friends, families, and thousands of CIBC employees on September 30th.
CFL Wired is brought to you by Social Code and their latest single, The Shortest Line, in stores now.
Here are the halftime numbers brought to you by Coors Light. Who wants a cold one?
Dave, give me a couple hours because we're all going down to see Adam Rita on his birthday. As far as the numbers go, 7 of the last 8 games, Henry Burris has thrown for 300 yards. He's well on to 8 out of the last 9 games.
Yeah, big 6-0 for Adam, I believe, tonight, right, Chelsea?
That's right, baby.
All right, Tom Higgins has the lead. He spoke to our Sherry Ford.
Coach, your defensive game plan going into the game was to keep Printers in the pocket. How do you feel your club's done?
Well, so far so good in the fact that we're actually able to hold him to field goals on the turnovers, but he's a good athlete, and you know what, he's going to make some plays, and we expected him to be better than he was in his first outing, and that's what we're getting.
A couple offensive breakdowns by your team late in the half, but you must be happy with how they regrouped and marched it down for a touchdown.
Well, it's nice to still be ahead, so now let's regroup and play the next 30 minutes, and I think we can play a little bit better if we execute better, and again, we got to minimize those turnovers.
Thank you so much. Good luck in the second half.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Tom Higgins, leading 17-9 at the half over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Dan O'Toole, that's the update here. What's the update there? What do you got for us tonight?
Blue Jays.
Yeah?
They're
out of it,
playing
aren't they?
spoilers. They are out of it.
They're done.
But they're kind of in the mix. They're playing the Boston Red Sox. They swept those guys, so now they're on to the New York Yankees and maybe doing the same against these guys and getting in everyone's heads. 1-0 Jays in the 7th. Adam Lynn singles to right. Bobby Abreu comes up throwing. Jorge Posada can't hang on. Russ Adams scores. Made it 2-0 Jays. As for the Red Sox taking on the D-Rays, Boston a game and a half up on the Yanks. Dustin Pedroia scores on the wild pitch. Boston leading 3-1. Habs and Isles in some preseason puck. Thomas Plekanec streaks down the right side. Guillaume Latendresse, a little gimme on the doorstep. Made it 2-1 Habs. Also, Barry Bonds probably not going to be in San Fran next season. We're going to have that on the next edition of Sports and It's Falling Football at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. Myself and the pleasant Holly Horton. David?
Daniel, thank you very much. You know, it's another big night for Dan. Danny McManus, there's his family, his Kathy and Jackson, being honored tonight for his 8 years of great service as a Ticat quarterback.
Gibson's Finest Canadian Whiskey is not the official sponsor of croquet. Gibson's Finest, official sponsor of the CFL. Gibson's Finest Canadian Whiskey is not the official sponsor of tennis. Gibson's Finest, official sponsor of the CFL.
Tonight's game available on TSN HD and in 5.1 Dolby Digital Surround Sound. TSN, Canada sports leader in high definition. 17-9 headed to the third quarter. Calgary with the lead. Let's get an update on Casey Printers with Sherry Ford and Charlie Taft.
Coach, what is the status of Casey Printers?
Casey's done for this game. He's got a hamstring that he had in the preseason with the Chiefs and aggravated it here again this evening. So he's finished for this game. It's doesn't appear to be where it's going to be a tear or anything, but we can't risk further injury at this point.
So will it be Richie Williams the rest of the way?
It's Richie's show, so he's come in and played some and done well for us. So again, we'll have to keep it pretty simple because he doesn't get a lot of reps in practice. So, but he's got the club right now.
Thanks so much. Good luck in the second half.
So there is a picture that Ticat fans just didn't want to see. And we only hope that the Charlie Taft diagnosis is the right one and it isn't that serious. Richie Williams game for the Ticats. Stampeder football to start the second half. An 8-point lead. J.R. Ruffin reversing direction and brought down at the 24-yard line. Henry Burris with a pair of touchdown passes in that opening half.
11 of 19. He's on pace for over 400-yard game again for Henry Burris. I mentioned earlier, 7 of his last 8, he's been over 300. In fact, in his last 8 games, he's averaged 334 passing with 20 touchdowns. Make it 21. Make it 22 in 8.5 games.
Got off to a slow start, including a 230-yard performance in the opener against Hamilton. Going up top early, Copeland. The ball overthrown. Tony Tiller was in coverage. Looked like Copeland was open for a moment. But in the first 3 games, he averaged 173. He's been just about double that, as you've mentioned. And on pace again tonight for another 300-yarder.
Be interesting to see the adjustments they make now. Both teams, the Calgary Stampeders and Ticats. Printers out of the lineup changes things defensively for Calgary. Offensively, Cortez talked about taking what the defense would give him.
2nd and 10, 3-man rush and a pass behind Nick Lewis, the intended receiver. And Calgary will have to kick the ball away after their 2 and out on the opening possession of the second half.
It certainly changes the sense of urgency for the Hamilton defense, who now, without Casey Printers, have to play that much better. You know, when you're a team that is struggling, your tendency is to try and play perfect. And you can't be perfect. How you react to adversity is as important as the adversity itself. And Hamilton Tiger Cats get off to a good start in this second half.
O'Malley kicking it away. Good high boot, but out at the Hamilton bench. And haven't seen a flag thrown. There it is. So there'll be a couple of options here, and they may make Calgary kick the ball again.
You see, Richie Williams knew the rule. He was looking up at the ball. He said, wait a minute, the ball went out of bounds. We're in front of the 20-yard line. It's a penalty. I don't see a flag. Oh, there is a flag.
They want the ball near the 40, or do they want Calgary to kick it over again? Was a 45-yard punt by O'Malley. But we're headed back to do it again.
Calgary defense may decide to change things up.
Illegal kick out of bounds. Calgary number 2, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
Now that cover team has to do it all over again and should be a little bit winded, but interesting to see what Calgary does here with Richie Williams in the game. Will they send more pressure from the linebacking core and see if Williams can handle it? They were having problems containing Printers. They know that Williams won't break that contain as easily as Printers was doing that. They may be able to pin their ears back a little bit more and get after him with some blitz.
Do we see more of Jesse Lumsden because of this in the second half? Now, it's interesting that Williams was elevated to number 2 after the back-to-back losses against the Argos, but Casey Printers comes in and it's cram time for him, so very few reps for Williams.
That's why you can tell, like, Printers really doesn't have a lot to add to Williams as he comes on the field. Timmy Chang knows the offense better than Printers at this point.
O'Mahony from his goal line, and he nails the punt. That forces Armstead back to his 30. There's Armstead trying to find a seam and nothing doing. That was a 63-yard punt by O'Mahony, who undid any damage from the original punt out of bounds.
Yeah, that just got him off the hook, didn't it? He kicks it out of bounds. He's on his own goal line to punt that football, and now Richie Williams goes all the way back to his own 35.
So Richie Williams 4 for 4 in that final minute or so in relief of Casey Printers in the first half. 4 for 4, 37 yards, and got them into field goal range to make this an 8-point game. 2 running backs. First man through is Lumsden. Straight ahead to the 44-yard line. About 8 for Jesse Lumsden, as we saw both Terry Colley and Lumsden lined up behind Richie Williams in a 2-back set.
Saw Williams get outside there after the ball was handed to Lumsden. So that's a play that Printers ran in the first half.
So 8 for Lumsden. It will be 2nd and 2. And now Radlin is in the fullback spot. Lumsden, the tailback. And the pitch to Lumsden left side, lunging for the 45. He's going to come up about a yard short of the first down. Let's check in with Danny McManus.
Hey guys, talking about Richie Williams, Coach Taff always said that he doesn't get many reps in practice, but when he comes out to the game, he plays well. He's a gamer, he's a competitor. So that's something on Richie Williams' side is without that many reps, he's really not too sure what's going on, but he comes into the game and he performs at a high level.
Yeah, it's almost that he doesn't know enough to get nervous. He just shows up and don't get a lot of reps, so let's just go play ball.
And they're playing ball on 3rd and 1. From the 45, Williams didn't get much of a surge and really got belted by Cornelius Anthony. There is a penalty marker on the play. Scott Coe saying there's no chance they got the first down, but the marker, the penalty flag, according to the Ticats, is going against Calgary.
We have an offside. Defensive line lining up offside. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The whole line. Usually they start on the nose and they work out. If the nose is offside, the rest of the line is offside. And maybe a bit of a break there for Hamilton because Cornelius Anthony really timed his jump. Hit Williams right in the backfield.
First down up at the 50.
Get it anyway.
Williams kept it and broke a tackle. Tough guy to bring down. He's got a little Casey Printers in him.
Hey, he is a gamer. He is a gamer, Danny McManus. It's a pretty nice run up the middle. It didn't look like he had any room. They tried to go with that play action to Lumsden. But again, the Calgary Stampeders worried more about Lumsden. There's a couple of missed tackles in the open field and a couple that Richie Williams made a miss.
Broke the initial tackle attempt by Karan Williams, the nose guard, and runs for 14. Down to the Calgary 46. This time Lumsden. And Lumsden brought down after a couple.
Type of play allows Jesse Lumsden to be patient and pick his hole rather than have a play that's designed to go right to a hole. Sometimes offensive plays are designed to hit it hard and the hole will be there and you have to trust that it will be. On that type of play, it's sort of a delayed sprint draw where Lumsden has a chance to pick his hole and pick which one he wants, either to bounce outside or hit it up in the middle.
Mentioned August 3rd, 12 carries, 211 yards. Since then, 15 carries coming into this game. Over the middle and a ball through the hands of Nate Curry, the first incompletion. Tossed by Williams and a drop.
Perfect read by Richie Williams, Chris, because Nate Curry does the right thing. He goes across the middle. He knows blitz is coming because the Calgary Stampeders line up, and you can see, look at Williams in there right there. He's right now telling you that the blitz is coming. His left hand saying, I'm getting full blitz here, guys. You got to open up quickly. He puts the ball right on the money. Curry catches that, turns the corner. He picks up the first down on what's called a hot read, but did everything right except catch the football.
Charlie Taft sends Nick Seta out to attempt a 51-yarder, longest of the year, 52. All 6 misses this year from 45 or beyond. And Nick Seta will tuck it in. 52, and it's a 5-point Calgary lead.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site.
Hamilton offense off the toe of Nick Seta tonight. Got excited, gave him 1 extra yard. It was a 51-yarder, his 4th of the game. And it's 17-12, just past the 5-minute mark, 3rd quarter. Fake to Joffrey Reynolds, and off the edge goes Henry Burris, and the old dive for a first down. We had a special halftime. Dave Randorf mentioned it, and it was terrific to watch the fans salute our colleague Danny McManus.
Congratulations, Bob.
His wife Kathy, son Jackson.
Well, the other night we went to a nice dinner.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Danny McManus. 8 years here in Hamilton, 17 brilliant CFL seasons.
And of course the championship in '99.
Henry steps up, he's taking off and takes a hit at midfield. Close to 4. Yes, it was, and I detected Mr. McManus a little emotion, which was nice to see.
Yeah, it was a great thing to be a part of. You know, one of the things that you look at is who's going to benefit from this, and that's the children. Feed the Children Canada and the Children's Hospital here in town at McMaster's. These are the guys who are going to benefit from it, and I was glad to be a part of it. The whole week has been fun-filled.
Well, we tip our hat to you and to Bob Young and the Ticat staff. 2nd and 6. Burris with a pump, and now he'll be in trouble, and took a real hit back at the 48-yard line. Howard Hodges takes down Henry Burris.
The defense rallying around here, Danny. I know you played in this market for a long time, Danny, and you played well here, and of course led the football team in '99 to a championship. You've seen how good the owners are. There's a lot that the fans in this city can be excited about, even though the record doesn't indicate that right now, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. I think the starting from the top down, and Bob Young's an outstanding owner, and they got the nucleus going. You got Casey Printers, you got Jesse Lumsden, you got Jason Armstead. Those are going to be the cornerstones of this organization, and these fans are definitely looking for a winner.
We've seen a revved up defense tonight. And O'Malley has to kick it away again. Armstead on 1 hop at his 20. And drop at the 25. For every sack in tonight's game, Purelator donates the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank. Purelator, the official courier of the CFL, tackling hunger across Canada. It's Tackle Hunger night here at Ivor Wynn, and 3 sacks for the Ticats, who are still last, but have put the heat on Henry Burris tonight. Hamilton takes over at their 25 with Richie Williams at the controls. Quarterback keeper, and Williams for 6 off the left side.
They have been playing well on defense, Chris. Then defensive front 4 is starting to get involved more and more. You're going to see a couple guys here, Howard Hodges, Charlton Keith, they're all involved. Keith on the top of your screen, he's going to take away the little swing pass, then he comes up. How about Roger Dunbrook cutting off Henry Burris, and here comes Hodges from the backside. Starting to rally on defense. If they can continue to get pressure throughout this game from the front 4, allows their secondary to do a lot more things back there.
2nd and 4. Fake to Lumsden. Open receiver Jason French. First down Hamilton. Trey Young there to help bring him down.
And that's a nice looking throw from Richie Williams, because he was in the act of being pelted off the corner. He just turns around, little fake here. By the time he pulls the ball in the fake, he's about to get hit. But he knows where he has to go with the football, and he stands in there, a little jump throw, like you'd be leading the slashing forward in basketball. Just jump up and hit him down the lane.
Richie Williams, second year here. Problem with the handoff, and who gets back on it? Calgary says they've got it. And it looks like they do. Stampeder ball. On the fumble recovery by Karan Williams, the nose tackle comes up with it.
All kinds of problems on the handoff from Williams and Lumsden. It's the responsibility of the quarterback to put it in the right spot, and Williams gets it up high and hits the forearm of Jesse Lumsden as he's trying to get it. He's looking at the hole, so it's not his responsibility, but you can see that ball is up in his left arm, and as he's looking at the hole and where to run, he never really has the handle of the football. That one's on Richie Williams for the bad handoff.
Second turnover. That department even tonight. Burris goes to work and has the receiver Copeland open in the flat for a first down.
And this is one of the things that the Hamilton Tiger Cats have suffered through this season. Every team has what just happened to them. Every single team in the league. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats have really struggled bouncing back from that adversity, finding a way to hold Calgary right now to just a field goal attempt. That has been why they're just 1-10 on the season.
Calgary first down. Burris. And he's down again. Dropped by Charlton Keith.
Three-man pressure, and Charlton Keith may be that catalyst. He may be a difference maker that they've been looking for to help them turn around that adversity. He's on the right side of your screen. And he is battling on the outside on Jeff Pilon, the veteran. He pushes him high, and he comes underneath as Henry Burris tries to escape.
4 Ticat sacks. Keith's got a pair. Second and 14. 3-man rush. Burris drops it off, and Reynolds can't reach it.
Remember early in the game, Henry Burris threw a strike to Copeland over the middle, and I thought at the time that his accuracy on that throw was so important. This is an example of what happens if the throw is just off over the middle. It really puts your receiver, in this case Joffrey Reynolds, in a vulnerable position. He can't come up with it, and Burris, after trying to shake that sack off, is a little off on the throw.
So DeAngelis at 88% on the year. Sizes up a 40-yard attempt. Brent Ralph is the holder. And Sandro has missed that one just by a fraction. Will go for a single. This is 4th miss of the year.
The first down line brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra. GMC, professional grade.
The missed 40-yard field goal goes for a single point that was quickly conceded, you noted, by JoJo Walker. It's 18-12.
He went down in a heartbeat after last week.
Richie Williams hands off Terry Colley up close to the 40-yard line. He has 5. And tonight, right in the middle of the action, Marwan Hage is mic'd for TSN.
There we go. Hey. All right, let's go. Let's play hard now.
They've been doing that. They've been playing hard.
Second close to 5, and there's a pass completed for a first down. And that's Kendrick Starling, who was a cut of the Edmonton Eskimos out of training camp, picked up, and he had a couple of plays last week. They said he'd be more active today, and he has his first Ticat catch.
Yeah, that was a strike, you know, and they're still doing some auditions, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and will to the end of the year. So Kendrick Starling has a chance to show that he should be brought to training camp next season, that he is a guy that they want to start to build this offense around.
Williams hands it off, and Colley will try and get outside. And Brian Clark said no and got some help. Shannon James, Trey Young track him down.
But a real positive turnaround here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats to give up the fumble on the last series with Calgary in scoring position, hold the Stamps to just 1 play or 1 point. This is a nice play by Brian Clark to just get the angle. Now puts them in 2nd and long, but even if the Ticats have to punt here, throughout this season, they've given up a major in that situation. This time they don't.
Colley stays in as the lone running back, 2nd and 11. Williams scrambles and now dumps it off. Colley across midfield. And a tough man to get down, and that extra effort grinded out maybe a couple extra yards,
you know,
and will give Charlie Taft something to think about anyway.
I would think so. I mean, it looks like depending on where they mark the ball, he might be inside of a yard.
He looked like he was 4 yards short at contact, and Charlie said go for it.
Well, they just marked
no?
it. Yeah, they just marked it, and he's 2 yards short. It depended on the mark of the football.
Oh, he set out the punt team, and I read the signals wrong, but it is 3rd and 2.
They're working on Jesse Lumsden. And since the exchange problem between him and Richie Williams, he hasn't come back on the field.
Set his kick. Will bounce into the end zone. And Marcus Howe will concede the single point. So once again, it's a 5-point Calgary lead. Under 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter.
Sometimes even great teams need more skill and more ability. Sometimes even great teams need an advantage. A CA can do more than you think. The CA Advantage.
Top Canadian last week in the CFL, Scott Coe, who made 11 tackles against the Rough Riders. Former Hamilton Ticat draft choice getting attention after that 53-yard Nick Seta single. Not sure what happened to Scott, who we watched break a hand in a Montreal game and not miss a play.
That was a mistake by Nick Seta as well. That's a long punt, but certainly when it's a 6-point game, Charlie Taft does not want a single point. He wants field position, and Seta, who's played real well in this game tonight, the ball just got away on him a little bit. I mean, that's 35 yards of real estate that Calgary gets right back, and that single really irrelevant at this point.
Coe bounces up. Looks like he'll be okay. Guy who has his share of fans still here in Hamilton, a 5th-round draft choice, who's a starter for the Calgary Stampeders. Well, this game very much still in the balance. It's become a good defensive battle here. Calgary scored a major after 3 plays, but the Ticat defense is dug in. And Joffrey Reynolds with a carry, brought down by the Sam linebacker, Michael Harden.
And that's the first time in a while, Chris, you've mentioned Joffrey Reynolds. That's where Calgary decided to go back to him and get that 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. They've had some problems in the last few series because of the Hamilton defense, but Joffrey Reynolds can be your answer.
Final minute third quarter, 2nd and 5. Three-man rush. Underneath. Ray Mariusz there to limit the damage. Kenyon Rembo the catch. Let's see where they mark it. It'll be just short of the first down stripe at the 45. Well, it might even be nosing there, so if they don't have it, it's going to be 3rd and an inch or 2.
Well within that range where Tom Higgins would want to gamble anyway. That was a more accurate throw over the middle, even though it's a simple little dump pass. Accuracy is so important. Seen what can happen when it's not there, and that time Burris hits Rambo right in the stomach.
Well, we mentioned just 2 wins in their last 8 trips to Hamilton. For some reason, this a very difficult place for the Stampeders to play. 3rd and inches. And Burris will have it. Following Rob Lazio in again at center this week for the injured John Comiskey, who probably is going to miss at least 2 more weeks, according to Coach Tom Higgins.
Lazio filled in for Jay McNeil. He actually started 3 games at guard. He started the last 3 at center for Comiskey, and he's also played in the right guard and other positions throughout the year to spell guys off.
1st and 10, back straight ahead, and Reynolds to the 51.
And now this gives that offensive line that you just talked about a chance to start teeing off. George Cortez has obviously decided to go back to that running game, go back to Joffrey Reynolds. You think back to the last couple of games that the Calgary Stampeders have played. Saskatchewan, Reynolds 154. In the rematch in Edmonton, Reynolds 100. And they go back to him in the second half especially. That's when they started to move the ball again.
Again, 102 yards last week in the second half for Reynolds. And here's Ryan Thowell converting another 2nd down play. Juwan Armour tried to rip it loose, but Thowell hangs on. Calgary football, and we start the 4th quarter. Third quarter stats brought to you by Rona, the Canadian how-to people.
Well, you have a close game, and the stats, when you look at both columns, very close as well. The only difference being in the turnovers, where Calgary scored 8 points off theirs and Hamilton 3 off their turnovers, and that's the 5-point difference.
So my math says it's a 5-point game because of that. Hamilton's been gritty tonight. They've lost Casey Printers, but are staying with it. Your thoughts on Calgary, and are they sputtering a little bit tonight?
Sputtering a little bit because of the Hamilton defense. I've seen a lot of signs that the Hamilton defense, in fact, this entire team is moving in the right direction. They still are playing a hot football team in Calgary who are now involving Joffrey Reynolds again. And to me, that's the difference between winning and losing when the Stamps run Joffrey.
And Joffrey Reynolds gets the carry here, but he's tripped up. Michael Harden again gets in there to upend Reynolds, who was told last week that it was going to be his ball in the second half, and he made the most of it. And they've talked a lot about 4th quarter time in Calgary being Joffrey Reynolds' time this season.
You go back to that rematch in Edmonton a couple of games ago, a close 3-point game. The Calgary Stampeders hanging on. It was the second half 100-yard plus from Joffrey Reynolds that made the difference in that game.
2nd and 9. Here comes the blitz. Reynolds complete. Thowell the catch. And great effort by Thowell to get to the first down stick, it would appear. Dwight Anderson couldn't corral him.
Yeah, and Joffrey Reynolds is the key on this play because he's the guy who steps and helps out on the block on the backside right here. If he doesn't seal the backside on this blitz, then Juwan Armour is coming clean off the edge, and he's got a target on Henry Burris.
Well, first down at the 35. The fake to Reynolds. Burris under pressure, and he'll lunge ahead and should have close to 6.
That's what Tom Higgins was talking about. Remember early in the game, he said he makes good decisions. He's knowing when to hook slide now and when not to try and make a guy miss and break a tackle. Henry Burris knew that he just wanted second and medium. He didn't care about the first down here. It was first down now, so he takes off and runs. He finds a little seam, but this is a smart decision to hook slide. Why put the ball in a vulnerable position? Take a hit when you don't have to.
27 in the game, 568 on the year for Henry Burris. That's a personal best here in game 12. And he may add to it here. And look at that lunge for the first down stick.
Jermaine Copeland got all jammed up. He was the intended target trying to run across the middle, and he did not get anywhere. And when Henry Burris saw that Copeland was in all kinds of trouble, watch him try and make this inside move and then jam right there. No place to go for Copeland. He is well covered, so Burris has to pull it down. He wants to go to Copeland, not there. And a quick decision out to the outside, and look at that second effort. The little things. We showed you the little things.
Not McKay Lozier has taken a knee in the vicinity of where Burris stepped out. That gives Burris a chance to confer with George Cortez. And we'll take a timeout. Early fourth quarter.
The First Down Line, brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra. GMC, professional grade.
Not McKay Lozier on the sidelines after the Henry Burris first down run. It sets up the Stamps at the Hamilton 23-yard line, trying to enhance a 5-point lead. And on the reverse, here's Brett Ralph, and he slips away. Still going to the 9. So the kid brother of the Hamilton receiver with a nice run for 12.
All kinds of confusion for the Hamilton defense, who are trying to check the formation, and they can't get it done. Look at them scramble back here, trying to get it done. That's Tony Tiller. He's trying to get them all lined up properly. There's Zeke Moreno trying to line them up properly, and that catches the Hamilton defense off guard. They're not ready to flow to the football, and then Brett Ralph does a nice job in the open field, making a couple guys miss.
Rob Cote checks into the game. He goes in motion. First and goal, Joffrey Reynolds fumbles the football, and the Ticats, I think, are on it, and it's Charlton Keith. Third turnover of the game for the Stampeders.
He has been around the football, and this is a great sign for Ticat fans. It really is. I mean, how many times this year has this team, at a point in the game like this, had something bad happen or start to fall apart? What a difference maker Charlton Keith has been tonight.
Looks like Joffrey Reynolds ran into teammate Kenyon Rambo, and Charlton Keith scoops up the football. It's one area that Hamilton has been good in this year. They actually lead the CFL in fumble recoveries. That's a big one. And now straight ahead with a penalty marker down, Julian Radlin, the fullback, gets a carry.
Take a look where Keith comes from. You see the left of your screen, he just slides across, and he's been taking on those double teams. He ends up cutting through there and landing right on the football. But when you're hustling full speed, the ball seems to come to you.
Procedure, Hamilton, no end. 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
So an alignment penalty brings them back 5. Charlton Keith has a pair of sacks and a pair of fumble recoveries in this game. He has been a force. First and 15, the screen, Colley gets a block. Terry Colley up to the 30-yard line.
Nice call. It's a great call. Calgary Stampeders going to put a little pressure. There's Colley there. Watch how he'll just check. 1-1,000, 2-1,000, quick release. He's got a couple of blockers in front of him, and away he goes. Nice cut back to the middle. That's a perfect call in that situation, to dump it off, let your running back do the rest in the open field. And we haven't seen Jesse Lumsden back in this football game.
24 valuable yards. A first down for the Cats up at their 30. And Richie Williams 8 for 9 in the game. Charlie Taft talking about Colley's explosiveness. They really like what they've seen in early reps for Terry Colley. Here's Williams on a roll. And Richie Williams out of bounds at the Calgary bench at the 36. Close to 6 more as we join Sherry Ford.
Well, I just talked to Hamilton athletic therapist Chris Puskas, and he says that running back Jesse Lumsden suffered a burner-type injury to his left shoulder, and he feels that there will be no problem that he will go back into this game.
That's where it happened. That was early on, and in this second half. A bad handoff by Richie Williams, and he is back in the game now.
Yeah, Sherry says he's going back in, and she means it now.
Maybe she sent him in.
Well, Casey Printers unable to go in the second half. They've lost Lumsden for some time here in this second half. 2nd and 4. Jason French a catch, and Jason French at the 40 is brought down by J.R. Ruffin, but he's close to the first down.
And they brought Jesse Lumsden in to make the block off the edge on Terrence Patrick. And this is what a big body does. This is what Jesse Lumsden has done really well. Here he is here. He's going to step and seal the backside. Or the front side, I should say, where Williams wants to throw the football. Watch how he steps in there, takes on the block. Nice block on Terrence Patrick. Williams allowed to throw that ball out, and it's that close.
Looks like they are going to come up just short again. Calgary trying to extend their unbeaten streak to 5.
Now, the last time that Richie Williams tried a quarterback sneak, he kind of hesitated, and Cornelius Anthony came up over the top, and if not for a penalty, may have held him short. Linebackers are trying to time this up. They're trying to time up how they dive over the pile. The quarterback has to be absolutely decisive. Split second, just take that football and dive forward behind your center.
3rd and inches as the big boys hunker down. Williams off the left side and should have it. Let's go back to the sidelines. Inside the huddle is Danny McManus.
Hey, Chris and Glenn, from the Calgary sideline, they're a little confused with Richie Williams. He has a quick release. He's getting rid of the football, so they're not able to bring the full blitz. They're doing a zone blitz where they're showing that they're coming with everybody, and they're backing out of it, trying to confuse Richie Williams as much as possible. But he's really stinging them with his quick release.
That quick release, and Danny, if he can continue to get that running game going, whether it be Jesse Lumsden or Terry Colley, that'll really help him in this drive.
9 for 10 on the night. In relief of Printers, who went down in the final minute, first half. And Richie going up top, looking for Starling, and a penalty marker down. Dwayne Carpenter pushed off on Starling, and everybody at Ivor Wynn saw that.
And everyone saw the fake to Jesse Lumsden. Richie Williams does the little things well here. He's going to show that pitch fake to the entire defense and put it up over the top.
Pass interference. Calgary number 29. Automatic. First down.
And Dwayne Carpenter called at the other end for pass interference. He does turn around and look, but he runs right over Kendrick Starling. Nice play fake by Richie Williams, and he agrees with the pass interference.
Turns out to be a 36-yard play for the Tiger Cats. First down, and it's Lumsden inside, down to the 31. Maybe 3 for Jesse Lumsden.
Boy, Shannon James really did a nice job from the backside. He used his great speed, or that play had big-time potential.
Sam Linebacker's been busy tonight. One of the few Stamps who's played in all 12 games this year.
Yeah, he's been a highlight. They say one of the best. Brandon Browner Shannon James, the stars on that defense so far this year.
Maybe a poster boy for Ticats fans, because James, Karan Williams discovered in the final 2 games of last year's regular season, now the regulars. That's why these last games are important for Hamilton. Looking for new people. Jason French a catch. Inside the 20, another first down.
That's a big catch. He had to double clutch it right in the traffic area. Williams with great composure. He throws his down and low inside. You're going to have a great look at Jason French. Watch how he has to... Well, he did catch it pretty cleanly. I thought he had to double clutch it there a little bit, but that throw nice and low to the inside to avoid getting his receiver hit on the play.
Approaching the midway mark of the final quarter. And the Ticats threatening to close the gap, maybe to take the lead. Ivor Wynn's buzzing. Out of the bunch. And the pass behind the intended receiver.
But did you see what Williams was trying to do? Ivor Wynn is going crazy because they've been looking for some success. They're starving for something to cheer about. But Williams needs them to quiet down, believe it or not, when he's trying to run the offense, because he may want to audible on the line of scrimmage and change the play. He couldn't get the crowd to quiet down, and he had to really bark out the signals just to get the football.
So it's 2nd and 10. You know how badly these fans want to cheer. Little sidearm to Lumpson. Jesse Lumpson, touchdown, will not be denied.
Now they can cheer. It's far from over, but this crowd has been looking for this kind of an effort, and they're going to get it from Jesse Lumsden. Banged up, missed most of the 3rd quarter, comes back in, and he has a nose for the end zone. Ran over Dwayne Carpenter.
First touchdown reception of the year, August 3rd. Last time the Cats won.
Chris, how about Richie Williams? Drives the ball down the field, quiets the crowd, and sidearm screen pass. He had to throw it under the pass rush to get it to Jesse Lumsden. From a guy who didn't expect to play tonight. I mean, you're number 2. You always are ready. You're always prepared. But this was going to be Casey Printer's show.
But Danny McManus say all he does is make plays, and he's doing it again tonight.
Now, there's lots of football to be played.
Brian Clark was shaken up on the touchdown run. He is slow to leave. And the Ticats, with a 1-point lead, will go for 2.
And they needed the time. Brian Clark going to the bench. Now, that does 2 things. It takes them out of their defense, an important play, but it also gives the Hamilton Tiger Cats time to calm back down again.
19-yard touchdown for Jesse Lumsden. And now to go for 2. Colley, the lone running back. Pressure, and there it is. They get it. It's Jason Armstead. Tiger Cats with the lead by 3.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Future Shop. Get 360 degrees of expertise on everything HD. And by Castrol. It's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
Well, we're in for quite a finish. 6:36 to go. And the 1-10 Tiger Cats have the lead. I don't think they've led in the fourth quarter since August 3rd. And Ruffin stumbles at the 24. It's electric here at Ivor Wynne. Jesse Lumsden lit the fuse.
And he points to his head there saying, be smart, guys. We got lots of football to be played. Still, watch Williams underthrow right underneath the arm of Anthony there. He drops that underneath, makes the play, and I love the fundamentals from Jesse Lumsden covering up the football on contact. He's going to get hit again. He goes forward. He covers up the football one more time. Covers up the football with both hands. Fundamental football and great power from Jesse Lumsden to give his team the lead. Watch this. Covered up. Going to get hit. Covered up. Covered up. Find that end zone. That's great effort.
There's the man who engineered the 10-play, 99-yard drive. Big penalty, the 36-yard pass interference. Holding on the kickoff. And so now Henry Burris has got to fight this crowd starting at his 15. He'll dump it off, and here's Joffrey Reynolds. Fumbles! Ticats, do they have it? Joffrey Reynolds seemed to have cured his fumble problems till tonight.
They got it.
He's given it up. Ticats have it again.
Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site.
Roger Dunbrack, the 10-year vet, comes up with the fourth Hamilton takeaway of the night. Joffrey Reynolds with 2 fourth-quarter fumbles. He had not fumbled a football this year.
Yeah, and don't underestimate the influence that Roger Dunbrack brought to that defensive huddle. Have a veteran in there to look at in moments that you need him most.
Now the Ticats try to add to their 3-point lead. Lumsden straight ahead. Couple there for Jesse Lumsden.
Well, Zeke Moreno and see right here, and Ray Mariu's right there. 2 linebackers that are going to cause the fumble, and they're going to sandwich Joffrey Reynolds out of the backfield. Mariu's from behind, and Zeke Moreno comes up, and he puts the hat right on the football. And defensive players are taught to tackle the ball when it's being held out loose like that, and Joffrey Reynolds fumbles twice, like you mentioned, in this fourth quarter.
3 postseason fumbles for Reynolds that have been well documented. The first 2 of this season. That look-in is dropped. Armstead unable to corral it. And so the Stamps defense comes up. And Hamilton will have to settle for 3. At least a 3-point attempt. Just over 5 minutes to go.
Armstead took a little peek to where he wanted to run the football, and when he did, he took his eyes off it, and that ball had some heat on it. Armstead might have had a bit of a seam, but important 3 points nonetheless for the Ticats.
Setta's had a perfect night so far. Chang the holder. This will be from 31. And Setta's got a 5-for-5 night going. The NFL on TSN continues with Sunday Night Football. The Dallas Cowboys 2-0 take on the Bears 1-1. Live coverage begins at 7 for Pacific, available on TSN HD. And a ball in the flat. And Nick Lewis, who's had a quiet night, has the catch. But not much there.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders, since 2000, have played 31 times on the road in the East. In those 31 games, they have won just 8 times.
It has been a black hole, which is hard to believe. BC Printers helping urge the fans. Don't hurt that hamstring anymore, Casey. 2nd and 10. Burris forced, and he gets it away. A completion short of the first down by Brett Ralph, but that was Charlton Keith.
Yeah.
Turning up the heat again.
Yeah, he takes the great angle to cut Henry Burris off. Last week, Burris did this so many times against Saskatchewan where he got outside of containment and he really made the Riders pay. This time, look at the angle that Charlton Keith takes to cut Burris off and make him throw the football when he doesn't want to. He's right over here at the right of your screen. He's going to come up the field and take a real good angle. Rather than go to the quarterback, he widens, he flattens out, and he makes Burris throw when he's not ready. He has to throw it short, and the Calgary Stampeders will have to punt.
Still time for the Stamps. Over 3.5 minutes left. O'Malley with the good directional kick. There's JoJo Walker. Oh, he is run into and drilled by Rob Cote. 51-yard O'Malley punt. Well, it's turned out to be quite a Friday night, and the game in the balance, a 6-point Hamilton lead, just over 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, when I mentioned that stat about the Calgary Stampeders, I certainly wasn't implying that this game is over yet by any means.
But it is hard to put a finger on why such trouble here in Southern Ontario. 2 wins in their last 15 trips. Richie Williams trying to extend the misery and end the Ticat pain of a 5-game losing streak. Lumsden. Couple more. Terrence Patrick, Karan Williams in the midst of it defensively. And the 3-minute warning given to the benches here. Tonight's game story brought to you by Sport Check, your Under Armour headquarters.
Casey Printers got off to a good start and then injured in the first half with a hamstring. And they're going to rest him the rest of the way. It's been Richie Williams' game. Kenyon Rambo got off to a great start also. Not bad in the numbers for Henry Burris.
Henry Burris 50 yards passing second half. He's been held in check, and now the Ticats looking at a critical 2nd and 8. Love to keep the ball away from Burris and company. Quarterback draw. Trying to get outside, and Cornelius Anthony will have none of it. And it will be 3rd down.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders did what they had to do, was to drop the linebackers, make it tough to throw in that intermediate area. You know that the Hamilton Tiger Cats don't want to risk a deep throw, don't want to risk a throw that might be intercepted. So the linebackers are just going to sit back in this zone, and then they will rally to the football no matter where it is. You can see Brian Clark drop there, and they just rallied to the football. Cornelius Anthony. Richie Williams thought he got a face mask, but that was not called.
Anthony in the top 10 in the CFL in tackles and sacks. As Karan Williams, the nose tackle, gets attention from Pat Clayton at the bench. And Nick Setta has to kick it away. And the Stamps are going to get an opportunity to write a dramatic finish to this game. Good setup punt. Howell at his 27. Straight ahead. 88 with a good return. Up close to the 48. And Henry Burris goes back to work. And this is how you can augment your outstanding player credentials.
Well, this is what you want as the quarterback. You want the ball with enough time on the clock and the game in the balance, and that's what Burris has now. The question is, what is the psyche of Joffrey Reynolds, and how involved will he be in this drive after a couple of late fumbles in this 4th quarter?
Have to deal with 12 men on the field and 20,000 plus roaring here at Ivor Wynn. Quarterback draw, Burris. And Henry's got a first down and a lot more to the 50.
An adjustment on the fly by George Cortez to run the quarterback draw because the linebackers for the Ticats have been dropping out of there and opening up that middle a little bit more.
13 for Burris. Remember the first game of the year, he ran for 99, 43 tonight. Henry pumps, takes off again, and he's out at the 43. And that's close to 7 more.
The one way that the Hamilton Tiger Cats can defend against this, because Burris is now taking the game on his shoulders, is to spy the quarterback. That would mean a guy like Zeke Moreno would do nothing but go where Henry Burris goes. He will line up over the middle. Ed O'Neill, the defensive coordinator, that looks like what he might be signaling right now. Spy him, put someone right in the face of the quarterback.
8th time in a dozen games that Burris has rushed for over 50. 2nd and 3. Short drop, Reynolds out of the backfield, has a first down and takes a huge hit at the 35, but hangs on. Tay Cody and Zeke Moreno double team Joffrey Reynolds.
Henry Burris right now is signaling to the bench what formation he wants. The quarterback takes control when they're in the hurry-up offense. The coordinator basically is out of it at that point. He may get a signal in or two, but it's up to the quarterback to call the formation and play.
Not McKay Lozier out, J.P. Pekasiak in for Hamilton, and a long out complete to Brett Ralph. And that's down at the 27, about a yard short of another first down.
You see no panic on the behalf of the Calgary Stampeders. Methodically moving this football down the field.
Yeah, there's still 1:56 on the clock. You don't want to leave Hamilton with too much time, do you? Number 1 priority is score, and a draw. Burris has another first down to the 21.
Still no spy technique from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Burris has run the ball 3 times on this series alone because it's the safe play. Keeps the chains moving, control of the football, and a new set of downs.
Not McKay Lozier and Ray Mariuz are sent back in. And Burris dispatches 5 receivers. First down at a pump. Henry again. And this time he's brought down at the 20. Just a yard on the play. Is that Charlton Keith again as we join Danny McManus?
Hey, Chris and Glenn, you're seeing Hamilton only with a 3-man rush. That's giving Henry Burris those lanes to run the quarterback draw or to dump the ball to Joffrey Reynolds. And that's why they're moving down here so quickly. And as you guys said earlier, they might be moving down a little too quickly.
Charlton Keith is down. Roger Dunbrook made the last play on the Henry Burris draw, and I think they actually did spy Moreno on that one. Roger Dunbrook right in the middle. He just eats up the block of Rob Lazio, and he plays it well. He waits for Henry Burris to commit to a side, and then he takes him down. There's Keith on the pile as well, and he's still down.
Roger Dunbrook's had a big night in a starting role at defensive tackle. And this guy has had a dominant night.
And he'll have to sit out the next 3 plays with the training staff on the field. He has been the best player on the field tonight, without question.
Don't want to throw it out casually, but it's almost been a Joe Montford kind of night.
It really has, and he's been a difference maker for this team. Now, they're in a situation with their past, with what's happened this season. This is where you look for the leaders. This is where you look for a guy like Zeke Moreno to be looking in the eyes of the guys on the field saying, hey, this is when we make a play. Don't play soft. Don't play to not lose this football game. That's what the Ticats have to be saying right now. Calgary Stampeders have lots of time and have shown no panic at all. This is where on defense you want to say, I want the ball to be thrown in my zone.
Ticats trying to end a 5-game losing streak. Stampeders trying to extend an unbeaten streak to 5. 2nd and 9. Out of the gun, Burris has time. Lots of it. An open man, Cote drilled and holds on. Dwight Anderson the tackle, but Cote's got a first down inside the 10.
And he'll take that hit every day of the week to get that first down and move the chains. All kinds of time with the three-man rush that Danny McManus had just mentioned for Henry Burris to wait for Cote to get open.
Cote, who scored his first CFL touchdown in the opener against Calgary, and Henry Burris has called timeout.
Such a fine line now for such a young secondary in the Hamilton Tiger Cats organization at this point. That was Dwight Anderson making that hit on Cote. But for them right now, a fine line between playing too aggressive and being beaten easily and playing too soft and allowing Calgary some kind of underneath pick move to walk in the end zone.
Late word from George Cortez. 63 seconds on the clock.
Lots of picks and rubs down in this area of the field. The Calgary Stampeders love that bunch formation. They're going to spread it out this time.
And you love Ivor Wynn when it's going off like this, don't you? Nice to hear, but Calgary trying to silence them into the end zone. Incomplete, intended for Rambo. Michael Harden, the Sam linebacker, in coverage.
Rambo got in behind Harden early in the game. This time, Michael Harden plays it well, cutting underneath the throw. He almost has the interception. Coming from the left side of your screen. First of all, Burris is trying to draw the coverage by rolling the opposite way. But look at that play by Michael Harden, who doesn't know any better. This is his third game.
Great break up by Harden. Second and goal from the 7. Burris pumps, wants to take off. And he's tripped up at the 5. Big play by Juwan Armour. Upending Burris, and Henry may be shaken up.
Juwan Armour is limping, and Henry Burris hasn't got up. Zeke Moreno fell on him as he was going to that sideline.
And Achilles Smith will have to come in on third down.
Burris wanted to run all the way, but the Ticat linebacking core was ready. Armour runs him down and trips him there. Watch Moreno. He tried to avoid that contact, but landed on his shoulder.
So the leading tacklers on the Ticats combine here. The great play by Armour. And Moreno with the hit that has all of Calgary holding their breath right now. And the left shoulder, and obvious Henry Burris discomfort. Well, we've seen a brilliant relief job by Richie Williams tonight. But now Achilles Smith has to come in cold and face 3rd and 4 with the game on the line.
How about that, Achilles Smith? The game on the line, you have 1 down. 51 seconds to go. And you're in the ball game. And that does not look good for Calgary fans. And Henry Burris was in pain.
Well, it's awful to see. A brilliant stretch, maybe the best we've ever seen Henry Burris the last 8 games, and tonight maybe not quite at that level, but engineering this potential game-winning drive, and now he has to give way, and Achilles Smith has 1 play to finish it off. And now a flag flies, and were there too many men in the Calgary huddle?
Illegal substitution, 13 men in the huddle, Calgary. 10-yard penalty.
Oh my.
A 10-yard penalty, and now 3rd and goal from the 14.
After the injury, a formation problem. Cote is leaving the field. Ryan Thelwell had come on, and Rob Cote just ran off the field late.
Third and 14, it'll be a different play call now. Everybody on their feet. Achilles Smith to the end zone. Thorwell knocked down. Picked off. Dwight Anderson.
Dwight Anderson has been that kind of player. He said, I want the ball to be thrown in my zone. I want it to be thrown to my man. It was, and he made the play.
You talked about the corners earlier, Glenn. They've had a lot of grief this year, but the Ticats see potential, and they just saw a huge play, which should salt away a Hamilton win.
And they saw confidence from Dwight Anderson. You have got to be confident to let Ryan Thorwell get behind you and play the football underneath like Dwight Anderson plays it underneath there. That's confident football, to let the receiver get behind you and you play the ball knowing you can get there. That's having confidence in your speed. What a play by Dwight Anderson.
His
That's
first
for the team right there.
CFL
Everybody support
interception.
Hamilton, baby. That's for y'all.
Fifth turnover of the night for the Stamps. So an old problem rears its head for Calgary.
Well, the bigger question right now for the Stampeders is not the 45 seconds left and what they can do with that, and it's not the 2 points they may lose here if they can't find a way to come back here, but it is the health of their quarterback.
That's what we was in. Tiger Cat was down.
They have
Nobody
used their
believed,
timeout, so
but the black and gold, baby.
Hamilton can run it out.
Yeah, it looks like they can finish it now. The timeout is gone. You're right.
Three seconds, knee dropped. Now time for the Friday Night Gladiator. It's brought to you by Castro. More than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
He's 24 years old, probably one of our youngest gladiators ever. In just his second start with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they weren't sure if he was going to be physically ready to go every down. He did that and more. 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. Was the best player on the field. Charlton Keith, congratulations, our gladiator tonight.
Tonight's gladiator receives a Movado Series 800 watch. Movado, the art of performance. While we were declaring a gladiator, Ticats cold 5-yard penalty, lose it down. Or do they? It's yardstick says it's going to be 3rd down with 22 seconds on the clock. And the punting unit has to come on. In the din, could not hear the Jake Ireland call.
Well, the clock was running there, went down to 16, and then they stopped it.
And while that unfolds, Henry Burris. Revealing interview with Brian Williams before the game. Looked like he was about to cap a come-from-behind Calgary win, only to be shaken up. And how severe is the injury? Nick Setta 5 for 5 of the night, with one last kick and a punt cover for Hamilton to end a 5-game losing streak. And he's going to try and kill the clock in the end zone. Time's out. 2 points conceded. And the Hamilton Ticats have their second win of 2007. Easing the pain that Charlie Taft talked about yesterday. Finally, something to cheer about at Ivor Wynn. What a brilliant relief job by Richie Williams. Casey Printers leaves with a hamstring. Richie Williams leads a come-from-behind Ticat win.